If you've ever been unsurprised that Messi nets a hat trick in the first game of this year's World Cup, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. The guy is unbelievable. It doesn't matter how old he is. Welcome back to another episode of Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the big day of the week, might I add. You get to hear from a new Fed chair. Who dis? We'll see what Kevin Warsh does here for the market, how the market responds. I think that is, without a doubt, going to be the biggest news piece here today. We'll see what the question and answer in the speech section give. That's going to be or carry more weight than what the actual decision is as we look to just kind of pause and leave rates unchanged here today. But we've got some news to go through first. No Tim Melvin today. We actually have another guest from Direction, one of our special friends. We're going to be bringing him on today. And of course, we're going to break down all of those movers. So I hope that you all had a wonderful Tuesday night. Benzinga's Pre-Market Playbook, the Wednesday edition for June 17th, 2026 begins right now. Good morning and welcome back, folks. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here. As mentioned, I hope that your Tuesday was wonderful and hopefully your Wednesday, albeit early, is going well. We've got a lot of stuff to get through today. Let me welcome everyone back here. Solitary Soldier, good morning. You are first here today. It's great to see you. Welcome back. Free Diddy Tomorrow, good morning. Welcome back. Derek, good morning. Welcome back. Peter, good morning. Peter says summer is here. Indeed it is. Indeed it is. Here in the Chicagoland region, we look to get a storm here today, and it's not terribly hot, so I'll take it, but happy summer. Crispy Biscuit, good morning. Welcome back. Robert, good morning. Welcome back. Zach McCracken, good afternoon for you, but good morning. Welcome back. Pachi, it's great to see you as always. Good afternoon. Hopefully you are well. Yes, that girl, I know you are well. Welcome back. It's good to see you. Cam, welcome back. Edro, welcome back. Francis, welcome back. Corey, locked in. Corey, how is the weather and the beauty at Table Rock Lake here today? You just got to let me know. Good to see you, boss. Welcome back. Rustam, good morning. It's good to see you again. Rustam wants to know, is anyone buying RR? Rich Tech Robotics is RR. Remember, those do those service delivery robots, right? Those are the ones that work in like restaurants and casinos and hospitals and bring stuff around. I didn't see any news on that, but let me know if there's any context that I might be missing. Rich Tech Robotics. Good morning, producer. It's great to see you. Catherine, good morning. Welcome back. Matthew, good morning. Welcome back. Kenneth, good morning. Marionette, there he is. Welcome back, Marionette. Whisk, good morning. Welcome back. Kelly, good morning. Kelly showering us with 4-leaf clovers here today. Boost that luck for us, Kelly. Let's go. Good to see you. Ed, good morning. Welcome back. It's time for a beer and some popcorn. Ed, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. Whoa, what? It's 8 o'clock in the morning, bro. Derek, never heard of RR, but we'll take a look. Derek, let me know what you find. Let me know if you think these service robots are worth it at all. Obviously, Rich Tech, very inexpensive at the moment. But let me know what you find there. We'll share it with the group. Acorns, good morning. Welcome back. Acorn saying he's looking at Apple puts here today. And you know what? We're going to cover that when we take a look at the SPY here a little bit. The futures were slightly in the green when I woke up. They've actually since turned negative. And so we'll see what the open gives us here. And then we'll see what happens midday. Tyler, good morning. Welcome back. PDYN has more news. It's already moving. Good morning. Can we add it to the list? Yes, we can. I've got 2 stocks on the list already. One of them was given by JR yesterday, and I almost can't believe what it's doing. But we'll take a look at that here. Bernhard, good morning. Welcome back. Durkis, good morning. Welcome back. Yeah, Robert saying, Robert, I love how you're just cutting to the chase here. What makes you think RR is worthwhile? This is really what we're getting at. And that's kind of what I was asking. Derek, let me know what you find and all of that. I'm willing to take any bull or bear case, but let's at least have the discussion so we can raise the tide for everybody. Jeff, good morning. Welcome back. Good to see you. Just passing through. Good morning. Welcome back. Lion Atlas, or the Atlas Lion, if you will. Good morning. Welcome back. Janie, good morning. Welcome back. Archangel, good morning. Welcome back. Edmund, good morning. Brandy, good morning. Captain Cloudy, good morning. Gen Z Pool Guy, good morning. Messi is the GOAT. Yeah, that's undisputed, I think, at this point. Cushley, good morning. Welcome Welcome back. Oscar, it's great to see you again. Welcome back. Linda, likewise. Good morning. I see my K. Good morning. Yassine, good morning. Yassine, you ready for these storms? We're about to get blasted. Bob, good morning. Captain Ryan. Bob, that is very nice of you. I don't think I'm a captain, but we'll take it here today. Appreciate that. Senyat says, happy Fed Day. Indeed. Well, we'll see. Is the Fed going to be happy, or is it going to be hawkish, or is it going to be mean? We're going to see. We have a lot to learn here today. And we don't get new Fed chairs very often, so it'll be very interesting to see the reaction here. James Bond, dude, absolutely love it. Good morning. Welcome back. G-Cord, good morning. Kenjalia, good morning. Mitch, good morning. Jane says, Ryan, I heard they are going to maybe ditch Soldier Field. Is that for real? Yeah, it might be. As I've been saying for years here, the politics in the state is an embarrassment to this country, and the Bears are not taking any more crap. The one thing, just to kind of set the record on this, the new site in Indiana that they're talking about is literally 20 minutes south of the current site. 20 minutes in the other direction. So actually some of the Southsiders probably have less of a commute to a better facility. A lot of hubbub about that, but we'll see how it shakes out. Nothing's final yet, but that's where it is, and it does appear to be like that. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started with our stock market today. All right, futures under a bit of pressure here. The S&P futures actually just swung green, so they're about at unchanged. They were green earlier in the morning, but have since weakened, actually went green to red, and now hovering higher by 0.06%. So very, very minimally green. Let's just call it close to unchanged. Dow futures also close to unchanged, minus 0.02%. So again, hanging right around that line. The NASDAQ leading the way as it normally does. That's higher by just about 0.5%, 0.45%. Let's take a look at some cues from last session, shall we? And then also where we sit at here today. Tuesday's market action saw financial, utilities, and industrial stocks record the biggest gains, while energy and information technology shares closed lower. U.S. stock futures were mixed on Wednesday as the Dow fell while the NASDAQ and the S&P advanced. S&P pulled back a little bit here. Investors are waiting for the Federal Open Market Committee decision on interest rates, slated to be announced during the afternoon, with Kevin Warsh as the new Fed chairman. The CME Group's Fed Watch Tool projections show that the markets are pricing a 99.6% likelihood that the Federal Reserve leaves the current interest rates unchanged during the June meeting. Meanwhile, even as the peace deal was agreed upon between the U.S. and Iran, recent findings by U.S. intelligence agencies reportedly suggest that Iran can now shut down the Strait of Hormuz at will, irrespective of the impending framework agreed scheduled for the signing in Geneva on Friday. Additionally, the 10-year Treasury bond yielded 4.44%, and the 2-year bond was at 4.05%. Now, we have several stocks in focus here for you today. And the first one here, it's going to be obvious. This is going to be a stock in focus probably for a while here. First one here is going to be SpaceX. Space Exploration Technologies, or ticker SPCX, rose 3.22% in the pre-market on Wednesday, and that is ahead of its fourth trading day. This, of course, is following its acquisition of Cursor AI. And we did have a discussion on Happy Hour about this, and one of the former analyst or retired analyst said that this was a tad weird. Right before the IPO, you would normally have these the details of this available for investors, and that wasn't the case here on SpaceX. Now, I'm not sure what that's going to do for the stock, but this felt odd for a lot of market veterans. The next stock on our list is going to be Sophia Genetics. The ticker on this one is SOPH, and it fell 3.45% in the pre-market after announcing a public offering last night. The next stock on our list is going to be Lazy Boy, ticker LZB, and it surged 19.62% after reporting better than expected fourth quarter financial results and announcing a 300 million share buyback. Nothing lazy about that, it seems. The next stock on our list is going to be Our Bond, and the ticker is OBAI, and it dropped 8.09% despite announcing a series of debt restructuring agreements aimed at strengthening its balance sheet and improving its financial flexibility. The next stock on our list is going to be Amcor Technology, and the ticker on this one, is AMKR. It jumped 5.5% after it signed a 10-year deal with Taiwan Semiconductor, or ticker TSM, to expand advanced semiconductor packaging capabilities in Arizona. The last stock on our list is going to be Stellantis, and the ticker is STLA. It was up 2.11%, and Uber Technologies, ticker UBER, declined 0.14% after both companies, along with Wave, announced a global partnership to explore and develop and deploy of Level 4 driverless robotaxis. All right, let's take a look at the SPY chart here and let's see where we sit. Now, a couple of things that are actually fairly interesting about this SPY chart here. First of all, to me, the next move looks almost too obvious. We couldn't quite set a new high. We pulled back yesterday. We pulled back into the gap that was created between Friday and Monday. And we also have the 20-day moving average sitting about 4 points lower than where we're currently at. Now, we are doing our best to hold 750. We talked about 750 yesterday being a key level. We had Anne Marie verify that as well. So perhaps that is going to be level number one to watch here today. But looking at the daily chart, doesn't it sure seem to you like the next move down would be to fill this gap and then see what happens? And I just worry that it's too obvious that we might not get that. Now, we're splitting hairs here because it's only 4 points away. Couple of key levels that we definitely want to watch here today. The top of the body here, it's going to be about 741. The top of the candle itself is 744.5. So this 741 to 744.5 might be a support area. And then also the 746, which is what the 20-day moving average is, that might end up coming into play perhaps at the end of the day. Now, all of that has a gigantic caveat because whatever happens here, or however the market perceives the new Fed chair and what they're saying, is ultimately going to determine what we do here today. But looking at this chart, it sure seems like this next move is a gap fill down. And then maybe we do hold that there. Maybe we even overshoot that and find some support at the 50-day, which is the yellow line that you see on the chart here at 726.5. So these are the levels that I'm looking at. The top side levels are fairly easy. It's going to be the all-time high from June 1st. That value is going to be 760.28. And before that, we want to see if we can take out Monday's high candle, which is 756.68. So those are going to be your key levels for the SPY here today. Now, got bit by the coughing bug there. Sorry about that. Let's take a look at some insights from analysts here and see what they think, and then we'll go ahead and plow through some of this news. Professor Jeremy Siegel holds a constructive view on the U.S. economy and stock market, driven by falling oil prices. By the way, real quick here, quick check-in on crude. That is actually 1.5 points up off the lows. Crude is higher by 0.69%, but it's still in a 75 handle. And this comes from 90 to 100s that we were dealing with somewhat recently. So oil is higher here today, but it's still marketably lower than it was recently. Nonetheless, strong technology trends and expanding market participation are also helping the constructive view on the U.S. economy and stock market. Siegel notes that the rapid unwinding of the oil shock directly reduces recession risks and supports customers, creating an inflation backdrop, quote, consistent with further disinflation over the second half of the year, end quote. Even with some infrastructure damage keeping oil above pre-conflict levels, prices remain well below points associated with economic stress. Furthermore, Siegel views the massive excitement surrounding the SpaceX IPO as a major positive, signaling robust investor appetite for innovation. He notes that this momentum will likely, quote, reinforce confidence in the technology sector's long-term growth prospects, end quote, and maintaining that the AI investment cycle remains a powerful secular force for equities. While the market awaits new Fed Chair Warsh's strategic decision, Siegel is highly encouraged by the broadening of market leadership beyond mega-cap tech stocks. I think we all are. Ultimately, despite lingering geopolitical risks, which seem to be getting wrapped up, Siegel remains firmly bullish, concluding that, quote, growth is proving more resilient than many expected, and the bull market remains intact, end quote. So how many of you are in agreement there? Does the bull market remain intact? And furthermore, do you think that we can probably see another, maybe even a 10% pullback before resuming upside movement this year? I think that's absolutely possible. We'll see if we get any indication of that here today. As far as the upcoming economic data, we do have May U.S. retail sales and retail sales minus autos data coming out here in 14 minutes. May's pending home sales and April's business inventories data will be out by 10, but the big show is going to be the FOMC and what Warsh has to say. Now, we did have an interesting story yesterday, and it came right before the close, and I mean right before the close. And the reason that I want to lead with this story is because if we see more of this, or if we get more details on this that are bad, maybe this could be the start of another move down or rotation in technology names or AI names. Oracle is denying a report that security concerns killed the potential $3 billion Microsoft cloud deal. Negotiations between Microsoft, ticker MSFT, and Oracle, ticker ORCL, regarding the leasing of Oracle's cloud infrastructure reportedly came to a halt due to security and compliance issues. The objective was to transfer some of Microsoft's workloads to Oracle's cloud infrastructure. However, Oracle's public cloud did not meet the Federal Risk and Authorization Management Program, or FedRAMP, standards. This is a security framework essential for handling U.S. government data. Oracle was not ready to implement this framework, and that was reported by Business Insider. The deal, which could have been worth over $3 billion, was called off due to these security concerns. An Oracle executive stated that integrating FedRAMP into Oracle's public cloud would necessitate significant engineering efforts. According to the report, public clouds from Amazon, ticker AMZN, and Alphabet, ticker GOOG, already comply with FedRAMP. However, an Oracle spokesperson disputed the report and told Business Insider that Microsoft remains both a partner and customer of Oracle's cloud infrastructure, abbreviated OCI, and that the two companies would continue to maintain a strong collaborative relationship while regularly exploring opportunities to expand their existing work together. The company did not immediately respond to Benzinga's request for comment, but you know the deal. I will update you. Microsoft is pursuing agreements with other cloud providers to prioritize Azure resources for customers as it looks to secure additional computing capacity, and that was according to the report. The company expects to spend $190 billion in 2026 to expand data center capacity and has already relied on Amazon's infrastructure to support GitHub and mitigate recent outages. OpenAI's acquisition of Ono last week to power Codex with secure, customer-controlled infrastructure demonstrates the growing importance of secure cloud infrastructure. Ono, which supports over 2 million developers, shares customers with OpenAI and has helped transition software development workflows into cloud-based environments. Now, as for Oracle and Microsoft, in 2025, Oracle announced a collaboration with the software giant to create an integration blueprint to enhance supply chain efficiency and responsiveness for manufacturers. The partnership was aimed at leveraging Oracle Fusion Cloud applications adopted by organizations like the U.S. Air Force and Choctaw Nation. Now, we're going to actually go back to the Oracle chart here briefly. We're going to take a look and see. Let me go ahead and share that here instead. Here's going to be Oracle. We're going to look inside. Oracle's down 1% here. If we look inside, this is what it looks like. So right as we got that news, right before the close, it started to pull, and it actually pulled the market with it briefly a little bit. We pulled a little bit more in the after hours, but we really weren't able to break down much past 185.50. I guess you could have just called 185 on that. Now, we have this pre-market range, so the same deal here. If you want to mark off maybe 185.5, and on the upside, mark off 188.5. And if Oracle breaks out or breaks down from that area, there's your potential trade plan and trade trigger. But I think more importantly than this, do any of these other big, massive deals get canceled, roll back? I mean, a thing about FedRAMP security, that seems fairly commonplace, right? It's almost kind of surprising that Oracle was not already set up for this or didn't know about this already. So we'll see if this actually proliferates to other tech names. In the meantime, it looks like Oracle's just kind of hit from this. We are below the 50-day moving average now. So if we do break lower, final target of 170 is not out of the question by any means. All right, next story here is going to be on ASTS Space Mobile. Space theme obviously in play. We did a really good job talking about the halo effect that we're likely to see from all of that. And sure enough, ASTS is up here today. This is up for good reason here. ASTS Space Mobile, or ticker ASTS, rose more than 6% in Wednesday's pre-market session after the company successfully launched 3 more Bluebird satellites, marking another milestone in the build-out of its space-based cellular broadband network. The move outpaced the broader market. The S&P futures were up just 1/10, suggesting that the rally was driven by company-specific news rather than the broader market sentiment, and indeed, that looks to be the case. AST Space Mobile said Wednesday it successfully launched its Bluebird 8, 9, and 10 satellites aboard a Falcon 9 rocket from Cape Canaveral Space Force Station. This advanced the deployment of its space-based cellular broadband network. The company said the satellites, each measuring about 2,400 square feet, are the largest commercial communications arrays ever deployed to low Earth orbit. They are designed to deliver peak data speeds at nearly 200 megabits directly to standard smartphones, nearly double the speeds achieved by its first-generation Block 1 Bluebird satellites. Founder, chairman, and CEO Abel Avalon said the launch marks another step towards making global space-based cellular broadband a reality. He added that Bluebirds 11, 12, and 13 are being prepared for shipment to Cape Canaveral, while satellites through Bluebird 37 are already in production and assembly. AST Space Mobile said it's progressing towards commercial service across the United States, Canada, Europe, Saudi Arabia, and Japan through partnerships with nearly 60 mobile network operators representing more than 3 billion subscribers, including those of AT&T, Verizon, Vodafone, Rakuten, Bell, TELUS, STC Group, Google, and American Tower. So this is interesting to me because they used the Falcon 9, the SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket to get up there, but they're launching satellites that are competition for the Starlink service. So how's this going to shake out? Market is rewarding ASTS here today. Let me know if any of you folks have ASTS trade plans going on. Are you looking to buy this? Do you already own it? Just let me know what you think there on ASTS. Matthew here, appreciate this. ASTS had major insider selling that I would be worried about. Now, remember, when it comes to insider selling, Tim Melvin has told us there's many reasons why you would sell. There's only one reason why you would buy. So factor that in. But let's take a look here. Let's go back to Pro real quick. I'm not worried about the grants. We did have the CFO and CLO sell about 4.3 million worth of stock. Let's see what they have left here. They sold 8% of what they owned. The other sell here, this is probably the pretty big one. This was the CTO, it looks like, sold 53% of their position. We also had the president, Scott Wisniewski, sell about 3.3% of his position. This was back in the end of May this year. Looks like we also, at the end of May, had Andrew Johnson, the CFO. This is actually his second sale. That actually looks like a scheduled one. And then we also had Julio Torres, a director, sell about 25, almost 26% of his position. So fair point there, Matthew. Worried about some of the insider selling. We'll see how ASTS shakes out. It is holding higher here by 5% in the pre-market. So far, so good. We also had this recent pullback towards the 200 that it looks like, at least today, we are going to end up holding. We'll see if we have the strength to get back above the 50. That would be next here. But the 200-day and the downward sloping trend line that originates from the high of January 30th this year should provide some support. Okay, how are we doing on time? We are good on time. Next story here. Elon Musk's SpaceX dominates retail trading, but analysts see echoes of the meme stock era. So how many of you think SpaceX is a meme stock? I guess maybe we should do that as a poll question at some point. We'll see. Demand for SpaceX shares are surging among retail investors. Color me shocked. But this analyst is cautioning against SpaceX rally, pointing towards the commercial spaceflight giant possibly becoming a, quote, meme stock, quote. In a post on the social media platform X on Tuesday, the Kobisi letter said that since Monday, retail investors have bought as much SpaceX as, quote, every other U.S. single stock combined the entire prior week, end quote. Retail investors bought over 93 million worth of the commercial spaceflight company's stock. That was according to the Kobisi letter, which accounted for about 73% of all retail single stock purchases during the day. Quote, retail appetite for risk shows no signs of slowing, end quote. And they were pointing towards SpaceX's retail turnover exceeding 7 million during the first 10 minutes on Monday. Charlie Bellio, an executive at investment firm Creative Planning, cautioned against SpaceX's rise while acknowledging that he has received criticism for his cautionary approach to SpaceX. Excuse me, last time I saw this was in 2021 when I was warning about the meme stock, SPAC, and ARK manias, he said. History doesn't repeat itself, but it often rhymes. And that was Abellio quoting an earlier post by him that showcased SpaceX surpassing Microsoft and Amazon already in market cap. A meme stock is a stock that gains popularity among retail investors, ordinary Americans in this case, through social media hype. GameStop, ticker GME, is a prominent example of a meme stock, perhaps the biggest and most famous. SpaceX's rally also resulted in Elon Musk surpassing the combined net worths of other tech billionaires like former Alphabet CEO Larry Page, as well as Sergey Brin, and Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos and Oracle's Larry Ellison. However, not everyone has been bullish on SpaceX, with Keith Snyder, an analyst at CFRA, initiating coverage on SpaceX with a sell rating and a $115 price target, which implies roughly 46% downside from the current levels. Interestingly enough, I asked the folks in happy hour yesterday what price they would like SpaceX at if it does in fact sell off beyond the IPO price. And I got a range of answers. I had a couple of people saying around 90. I had a couple of others saying 60 or 70 would be a dream. I think I had one guy say that it wouldn't really break 100. And then there were several others saying this is actually going to have what looks like a blow off top before it goes lower at all. So we'll see which way SpaceX goes. Would love to get the opinion here from the group. Lion says SpaceX is overvalued. Brandy says SpaceX is definitely not trading on fundamentals. So this is specifically to you two because I'm in agreement with both of you, but anyone else, feel free to chime in on this. What are you folks thinking for that first earnings report in August? If you think that it's not trading on fundamentals right now, I would agree with you, especially around the IPO hype. And Lion, if you think that it's overvalued at this point, what do you think happens when they release their first earnings? You think it trades down? You think the hype is enough to stick around to elevate it some more? My personal thought, like from where I sit right here today, seems like puts would print in that case. But we'll see. We shall see. Okay. We got another AI-related NVIDIA story here. NVIDIA's supply chain gets a boost as Coherent expands the Texas AI manufacturing facility. Coherent here, ticker COHR. This is a stock that we've actually traded before. On Tuesday, it announced an expansion of a manufacturing facility in Texas for lasers and optical networking products, strengthening a key part of NVIDIA's supply chain for the artificial intelligence stack. Excuse me. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang and Coherent CEO Jim Anderson were in Sherman to mark the expansion, which will boost U.S. production of lasers, optical transceivers, and semiconductor technologies used to move data across AI infrastructure. The Sherman facility includes what Coherent described as the world's first high-volume 6-inch indium phosphide manufacturing line. According to the company, the larger wafer format is expected to improve manufacturing efficiency and increase output as demand for optical technologies continue to grow. Quote, AI runs on compute, but it scales on connectivity. And Sherman is where connective tissue gets built, end quote. And that was from Anderson. NVIDIA said the expansion adds domestic production capacity for a technology that has become increasingly important in the build-out of next-generation AI infrastructure. Coherent said it received a $50 million CHIPS Act grant to help fund the expansion, adding to roughly $17 million that had previously been awarded. The funding is intended to support increased domestic production of technologies used in AI networking, communications, and advanced computing systems. So, does anyone like COHR? I can't remember if that was a popular trader stock for the group or not. Let's see how that's actually doing here today. COHR. That's actually higher here today. Yeah, that's higher by about 7 points. Stock is still in a 300 handle. Stock is still on a 300 handle. Brandy says hype will hold it up for a while. That's what I'm feeling too. Brandy, tell me if you're going through this. One of the things that I'm struggling with is I definitely want this stock lower. I want to get a good price on it for the purpose of investing. And when I see it trade up, I have to fight that FOMO. Like, are you sure it's coming back down? I feel really strongly about that. I agree with you. It seems like the hype train is on it right now, and it just doesn't make sense to fight that hype train. I think the best move for me is going to be patience. Let me know if you agree with that. All right, folks. I know we normally have Tim Melvin here. He's sad, and he'll be back. He'll have something great for us. But that's okay, because we have another super exciting guest for you. We are going to bring back our friend of Benzinga, managing director and head of global sales of distributions and alternatives at Egilinsky. Let's go ahead and bring him on. Ed, good morning. How you doing?
Good. How you been?
I've been real good, man. Let me tell you something. With the NBA and the NHL over now, I cannot even begin to put into words how lucky we are that we have the World Cup. You feel the same?
Yeah. Especially in New York. We don't get enough traffic, but, the World Cup is welcome here for sure. So excitement all around. I'm not a Knick fan, but I have to tell you, Ryan, 50 plus years to wait for this. So I'm happy for the city. I'm a native New Yorker. So once every 53 years, I'll allow the Knicks to win, being a Celtic fan. So.
I'll allow. I was going to say, you must have peers and friends that are absolutely beside themselves right now. So that's absolutely fantastic. Okay. We're talking about SpaceX. Every day we've been talking about SpaceX. We talked about SpaceX in the lead up to the IPO. The IPO is here. There definitely seems to be a hype train. We were just actually discussing that a little bit here. With the launch of SpaceX, how can traders participate? I know you've got something for us.
Yeah, no, definitely. As you know, we're the leaders in leverage and inverse single stock, including Tesla. We have the largest 2X bull Tesla product, TSLL. So that was must trade part one. We have now a way for short-term traders to take advantage of SpaceX for the must part two trade. And it's a 2X SpaceX LOFF. So we've got liftoff. It's been trading for a couple of days. The volume's been pretty significant. The total trading volume was 40 million plus the first day. And thanks to your viewers, Ryan, 160 million yesterday in terms of total dollar trading volume. So it's had a big splash. We have a number of competitors that launched the same time. But, with direction approaching 30 years in doing this, our tracking has been right at the top relative to peers. So it's important for your viewers to note, you want to place those short-term trades, get it as tight as possible in terms of tracking. And that's where direction comes in terms of separating itself, in my opinion, from peers.
Yeah, and that's been our experience too. We've been trading direction ETFs around these parts for a long time. They do a great job of tracking. They're totally liquid. They're easy to trade. So hats off to you. Also, I know this probably isn't as important, but you guys did it again. With the crypto ETFs, with Lambo and Rect, you had great names. Now you've got Liftoff for SpaceX. Well done across. Someone back there, whoever comes up with these, they deserve a hearty pat on the back, if not a raise. That's awesome. Yeah. Now, You spoke a little bit about this, but maybe there's something else in here. How do you feel about the competitive edge that you have, not just for SpaceX here, but also for the Tesla long and short?
Well, certainly when you're looking at direction, being in the space 30 years, doing this in the ETF space specifically since 2008, I think what separates us is our experience and expertise and our ability to track, and especially when it comes to the race here, when it comes to 2x SpaceX, we get the leverage from the big global banks providing us what's called swaps. I'm not going to bore the viewers with details, but it's a derivative that banks provide us to provide the daily leverage. And it's important to have a deep bench of some of the biggest, most liquid global banks, and Direction has that, which really separates us from most peers that might be good at what they do, but they haven't been doing it as long, and they certainly don't have as deep a bench with those big global banks, which provide the liquidity and the tracking day to day for us. So that definitely is a differentiator there. SpaceX has been interesting, though. I mean, listen, it's the largest IPO in history. Nothing new to your viewers in terms of that. It's going to be included in a couple of indices, coming up. Not S&P 500, but Nasdaq and the MSCI and the Russell 1000. So there's going to be continued pent up demand. I think the market float, that's liquid is smaller in terms of that. So I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy right now with Tesla, with SpaceX rather going up. The issue is valuations. I don't think any of these Musk companies, whether it's Tesla or now SpaceX, you can't value it on just pure business and revenue. You have to look at it as a story stock, the potential there. So it'd be interesting where it's trading at 2.7 trillion now. Can you tell me it's the fifth largest market cap stock out there in the world? On a relative basis, I just don't know if you could justify that valuation. We'll see. But certainly that valuation is very lofty.
Yeah, and we'll see what we get around earnings, right? Like, does the hype wear off? When they actually have to put out an earnings report, does that change some of the sentiment? We'll see about that. Your Tesla example is well taken. When I first got into this business and I was looking at Tesla and I was like, yeah, I understand some of this and we're valuing this company. I saw a whole bunch of people trying to short Tesla on its valuation. It didn't go well for them. Some of them were actually carried out on stretchers. So it is what it is. I don't plan to jump in front of a moving train there on SpaceX. And I like using these ETFs. That reminds me, do you have any plans to come up with a short ETF for SpaceX?
Yeah, we've looked at it. It depends on the liquidity and if we have the capacity in terms of to trade that, where we can provide that liquidity and tracking day to day. So we're definitely looking at it. It's something
Awesome.
that might take place. Some other providers have it right now. So I'm full disclosure. They came out with it. Maybe it was more of a ready, fire, aim. We don't like to do that. So if we do come out with it, we'll know we at least have the liquidity and the ability to track daily to support that.
Yeah, don't release something that's not ready, right? Release something that's great. And frankly, you haven't needed the short side yet, so we'll
Not
see
yet,
if
but
that
there'll always
changes.
be contrarians, though, as
That's
you know.
right.
So
You got that right. Now, thanks for all of that. SpaceX, not the only big piece of news in particular this week, because we have a Fed meeting with a new Fed chair. So I'm going to lean on you here. What are traders focused on heading into this week's Fed meeting? What are you seeing in some of the flows?
Well, it's interesting. We're seeing outflows in our triple leverage bull. We have for the majority of the year, the 20 plus years. Some of you might be familiar with TLT. So it's the triple leverage bull on that. It's TMF. We also have the bear on the 20 plus year treasury, TMV. But it's interesting. We've seen mostly outflows in TMF year to date.
Okay.
And we also have a 7 to 10 year triple leverage bull and bear off of IEF. Haven't seen much activity there, and that's TYD and TYO. I think part of the reason is what's going on now. There's a lot of uncertainty with Warsh coming in. Let's see how his first Fed meeting goes. So I think people are a little skeptical and trading around that in terms of traders. And then when you look at right now where inflation's at, it's certainly still elevated, despite the fact that hopefully we'll have a resolution finally to this war, bringing down oil prices. We'll talk about that a little later. That could help tame this higher inflation. But the job numbers have been strong also. I think a lot of people anticipated rate cuts this year. That hasn't materialized, partly due to the U.S.-Iran conflict with what's going on with energy. But you could say that with a lot of commodity prices. So it's more of a wait and see with a lot of the interest rate traders there. So let's see what the Fed has to say today. There's no doubt that they'll keep rates unchanged. It's really his view going forward. Is he going to be a little more dovish maybe than Powell? But when you look at the Fed fund futures, Ryan, going into December, it has dropped the probability of a rate hike, I think, from 90% to around 60%. So maybe some of the things that are happening in terms of the U.S. and Iran situation calming down, oil prices dropping, may be less inclined for him to raise rates this year.
Yeah, and you bring up a really interesting point there about the oil, because one of the things that he had talked about is really not liking the dot plot, right? Not being beholden to some of the future predictions here, because it doesn't allow you to make changes if something changes abruptly, like, for example, the price of oil on the back of this. So I totally agree with you. Thanks for confirming that. I'm interested to see how the market plays all of this, and it has nothing to do with the rate decision. It's going to be a pause there. So, all right. Now, on the back of that, do you feel that precious metals and mining stocks have bottomed?
Well, I think when you look at it, gold miners just regained its 200-day moving average. Gold itself has not. So it's still below its 50, 100-day, 200-day for those technicians out there. When you look at gold miners and gold miners, of course, have a higher beta associated with it. Yep. It's rallied more sharply over the last couple of days than gold itself, but both of them have been up in response to the U.S.-Iran potential end of the war. At least that's what this agreement is being called. Mm-hmm. And the U.S. dollar has weakened a little bit over the last couple of days, so the jury's still out in terms of whether that trend will continue. And of course, there's an inverse relationship between gold itself and the precious metals and the dollar historically. And you have interest rates dropping a little bit, so that flight to safety trade may be more of the gold type of play. What's interesting, Ryan, is in the past, as you know, are your viewers to trade the mining stocks. We have some of the most popular ones in the marketplace that are based off of 2x GDX and 2x GDXJ, bull and bear, and that's Nugget Dust and JNUG and J Dust. But now, more recently, you could trade the precious metals on the bull side with us. We have a 2x GLD we just launched on actual physical gold itself. That's UGLD. So that's a 2x bull on gold itself. And then silver, 2x SLV. So it's USLV. So two easy ones to remember there in terms of if you want to trade the precious metals on the bull side, or if you want to stick to the stocks and the gold mining stocks through the either bull or bear 2x. We have those choices for you now. And of course, gold miners stocks tend to behave a little more differently than gold at times. They are related, but they can diverge at times. And certainly gold miners historically has had a higher beta associated with it in terms of volatility. So we at least have other choices right now for clients. We have seen buying on the dip in Nugget and JNUG this month. Not the last couple of days because it started to rally gold miners, but previous to that, we saw some buying in JNUG and Nugget.
Yeah, we've been seeing the dip get bought in gold. In fact, we know that the central banks are increasingly bullish on gold. They plan to buy the dip, so we'll see if any of that materializes through some of these other ETFs as well. Okay.
One thing to add, Ryan, to that, you mentioned central banks. I mean, they're still buyers of gold. They hold more gold now than treasuries. That's an interesting stat. So just along the lines of what you're saying, the central bank buying continues in terms of just from a global perspective.
Yeah. Now, they would not let me out of here. They'd come after me with pitchforks if I didn't ask you about Bitcoin. So what do you make of Bitcoin's recent price activity? Looking at the Bitcoin futures here this morning, we're just shy of 65K, but we seem to be doing a pretty good job holding above that 60K threshold. What do you make of the recent price activity?
Yeah, it bounced off that 60K significant, support level there. It held. What concerns me about Bitcoin is that it's a risk-on asset, and with the VIX at 17, let's call it today, the U.S. equity market's at all-time highs, and Bitcoin is well off its highs. So what does that tell you? Are people taking some of that risk sentiment off of Bitcoin and putting it into other areas, including maybe just most recently like a leveraged SpaceX, for example? So we'll see about that. But I always look at Bitcoin as a great momentum trading vehicle. I don't see it as digital gold. I don't see it as a store of value. It's certainly not a non-correlated or diversifier asset class to equities. In fact, the correlation to the NASDAQ 100 is extremely high. It diverged, unfortunately, recently, but the wrong type of divergence. Market at all-time highs and Bitcoin dropping. So we're excited. We just launched a 2x bull on Bitcoin and Ethereum.
All
A
right.
2x, so a 2x bull, it's BTCU, and it's 2x off of the IBIT. Some of you might be familiar with IBIT, the
Yes.
non-leverage. So it's a 2x IBIT basically, and that's BTCU. And then on the Ethereum side, it's EVMU, and it's a 2x off of the ETHA. So again, here's a pure play way to play the spot market, using the underlying non-leverage ETF to give you that 2x bull exposure both on Bitcoin and Ethereum itself.
Yeah, IBIT and ETHA both actively traded ETFs in our space too. So it's cool that there's a direct, pure leveraged play off of that. That's fan. You keep hitting all of the market needs. I love it. All right, you talked a little bit about this, but just from maybe another angle here, how are traders positioning themselves off the latest U.S.-Iran headlines when it comes to the energy stocks? Is there a way you can track all of that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it's interesting. There's been nothing but headline risks and geopolitical risks in the energy sector this year. What's interesting is the energy stocks have been really one of the leaders in the marketplace. The energy sector, I still believe, even despite the recent pullback, is the second best performing sector this year outside of tech. More recently, though, with the news on Friday and over the weekend, has dropped West Texas, I think right around 80, a little below 80. There's a concern, or at least for the oil bulls concern, that now you'll have the Strait of Hormuz opened again. In fact, they're talking about Iran could almost sell oil immediately if this deal goes through. So there's going to be more oil in the market that could put further pressure on oil prices that could adversely affect the energy stocks themselves.
Is that me or is that him? Producer?
Yeah, we lost you. I apologize for that. Just a technical glitch. I'm on my phone today, so I
Yep, no problem.
apologize for that. But when you look at the ways to trade energy stocks and leverage from a short-term perspective, some of you are familiar with XLE. We have a 2x bull and bear. We don't use XLE, but it is off the Energy Select Sector Index, and that's ERX, ERY. And for those that want to play more of the oil producers and exploration, we have Gush and Drip, the 2x bull and bear on the S&P Oil and Gas Exploration.
All right, looks like we're having another connection issue there with Ed, but this is really interesting. I love these ETFs here. Ed, we got you back.
Yep, no problem. Also, ExxonMobil, which is of course large holding and Energy Select Sector Index. If you want to play it a la carte, We have XOMX, which is the 2X bull on ExxonMobil. Right now, ExxonMobil dropped below its 50 and 100-day moving average. The RSI is dropping for those technicals that people follow out there. It's been in the 30s. It hasn't breached below 30. So you're getting into an area where maybe it's oversold based on some of the recent weakness.
Okay, and then lastly, we had a new record here this week. We had semiconductors hitting a new record high. Where are you seeing flows there? Obviously, SOXL, SOXS, these are probably two of the, I would say, most highly traded ETFs, ones that people are watching. Where are you seeing the flows in the semiconductors?
Well, it's interesting. Semiconductors hit another record high on Monday. They sold off Tuesday. So just to show how fluid it is, we had significant inflows yesterday on the pullback in SOXL. The day before, we had outflows in SOXL as the semiconductors hit a record high. We saw also buying into SOXS. For most part, not just
We'll wait for him to get back. And Lonnie, I'll ask him about that dollar ETF.
I apologize.
It's okay.
Yeah. So we saw SOXS. We've seen a lot of buying for the year for the most part because of the strength in semis. Semis are up 95%. The semiconductor index for the year. We track that in SOXL and SOXS. So we've seen significant outflows in SOXL for the year. Why? Because of the massive run up and people are taking profits like they should. But you still see these windows where you get pullbacks like yesterday, although it's rallying today, where you'll see some buying on SOXL on a short-term basis on any sort of dips. Those dips, though, have been few and far between. Also, next week, Micron earnings are coming up. That is our largest.
MUD and MUU are the two ETFs that we've talked about here for Micron.
Semiconductor index, MUU, MUD, the 2X bull, inverse 1X bear. It's become one of our largest single stock plays out there. And if you wanted to play the semiconductors, what I'll call a la carte, we have a lot of the notable names in the semiconductor space, including Intel, which is linked, for example, Broadcom, Taiwan Semi, NVIDIA.
All of the major players there. Looks like you've got ETFs for each of those. Uh-oh. Lost him again. We'll see if we get him back this time. Lonnie, if we don't get him back, I will ask about that dollar ETF. I'll try and get you an answer even before we have him back as a guest. Obviously, we're dealing with some connection issues here today. We'll give Ed a little bit of grace on that. So, all right. That nonetheless, really, really good stuff there from Ed. Our friends at Direction continue to provide us trading vehicles to hopefully get those gains. And I like a lot of these. Been trading a lot of these for a number of years. We'll probably take a look at, I would imagine that these SpaceX ones are going to be in play for a while. And I think we actually might see a little bit of a kick up in some of the usage as well when those earnings first come out. I'm anticipating there to be some back and forth fighting with some of those earnings. We'll see. I know we had obviously, let's see, get them back here. Producer? Nope. Looks like we're out. All right. Well, we'll see if we can figure that out. If we can't get him back, just want to send a special thank you out to Ed and Direction for joining us here today. We do have a lot more mega IPOs on the way. I would imagine Direction is going to be there to take care of us on those as we go forward. So we thank Ed for taking the time here today, and I'm sure we're going to follow up with him shortly. All right. I did have, let's see, where are we at here? We've got just a couple of minutes left. I think I had one more. Yeah, I want to do one more story here on AI job loss, because this is something that we've talked about quite a bit. And then I also want to do a street tweet here. So that's coming as well. Let me cue this up here. Where are you? Okay. Let me put my screen back on. That's what I didn't do here. Sorry, producer. I'm doing my best, bro. Doing my best. All right, here we go. Ray Dalio warns that AI will reshape the economy. It's also going to bring jobs down a lot, evidently. So, all right, let's see what's going on here. On Tuesday, billionaire investor Ray Dalio warned that artificial intelligence could significantly reshape the global economy by boosting productivity while at the same time reducing jobs. In a post on X, the billionaire investor said AI represents one of several major forces currently reshaping the economy. He argued that while the technology will make businesses more efficient and reduce costs, it will also displace workers across multiple industries. Quote, AI is going to enhance productivity and bring down costs over time, but it's also going to bring down jobs a lot. It's a huge wealth gap producer, end quote. He raised concerns about how the benefits of AI-driven growth would be distributed across society, pointing to education and workforce readiness as key challenges. Quote, how do you distribute the wealth and its benefits like education, end quote. And he went on to say, right now, 60% of Americans have below a sixth grade reading level. How do you make that population productive, end quote. And that's a good question. Investor Kevin O'Leary said AI would create new industries and higher skilled jobs, calling it a continuation of past technological shifts. He said, quote, AI is no different, end quote, from earlier innovations that sparked similar fears. Earlier, Apollo Global Management chief economist Torsten Slok said there was, quote, zero evidence AI was currently causing widespread job losses in the U.S., citing continued hiring and rising demand for AI-related roles in data center construction. He added that the trend was supporting both employment and inflation. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said workers were more likely to be replaced by people using AI than the AI itself, noting that companies were automating tasks rather than limiting entire jobs. And this is exactly what I have been saying from the beginning, really since AI came onto the scene. Here at Benzinga, we've looked into this, and it started by giving us discussion points and maybe ideas for games to really kind of morphing into helping us code, helping us synthesize information, going through complex documents quickly, and really doing that productivity raise that everybody talks about. I've said from the beginning here that if you have someone, a child that's entering the workforce or going off to college or studying something in high school, use AI. Put it on your side. It will help make sure that you get a job. The AI is great, but this notion that it's just going to replace everything is still very, very far-fetched. And it's good to see more people on that same line. Vinod Khosla said AI could eliminate most jobs by 2030 by automating about 80% of work while sharply reducing costs and increasing productivity. Senator Bernie Sanders warned AI and robotics could displace millions of workers, criticizing Congress for failing to act and calling for stronger protections. Elizabeth Warren also cautioned that AI could reshape or eliminate large portions of the workforce, urging immediate action and proposing taxes on AI data center infrastructure. No surprise there. I would still say that your best bet here, don't fight it. Don't fight it. Figure out a way to use this. I don't care if you're a high school kid going on to college, a college kid entering the workforce, or somebody that spent 30 years in the workforce already. If you can figure out how these tools can benefit you and make you more productive, you, the person, are going to be more valuable at your job. We've already seen that here. Okay. We are just a minute here to pre-market pulse. We are going to be doing pretty good. I think I might have lost my producer there. Yep, lost my producer. We're rolling solo here, folks. We're rolling solo here. I do want to do a street tweet. Let's go ahead and do that right now. Oh, well, clearly up. And he doesn't have it set up. So, there we go. Producer's back. Yay. Okay, awesome. Here we go for street tweets. This one comes from the Kobisi letter. And this is kind of a discussion off what we were just talking about with Ed when it comes to gold. Lion, this was picked for you, by the way. World central banks are incredibly bullish on gold. 45% of central banks said they plan to buy gold over the next 12 months. That is the highest reading on record, according to the World Gold Council and the survey of 74 central banks. Remember, I asked Ed about this. He confirmed this for us. This percentage has more than doubled since 2020, and it marks the third consecutive annual increase. Emerging markets and developing economy central banks led the increase with a record of about 53% of this group planning to add gold. That's up from 48% last year. Overall, 89% of central banks expect global gold reserves to increase over the next 12 months. That is the second highest reading on record. Central banks, simply put, are buying the gold dip. Producer, are you able to make that graph bigger here so people can see it? Absolutely brilliant. How do you expect global central bank gold reserves to change over the next 12 months? And here we go. This is an increase. And if you look at the chart here, this has been increasing all of the time since 2021. The caveat here, obviously, 22 is a little bit of a dip there from 2025. But given how outside that reading is, this to me seems rather in line. I'm not put off by this. I'm not ready to call one data point a new trend or a reversal of the current trend that we've seen. So Lions, central banks are bullish. I know Lions bullish. Let me know if you are bullish on gold. All right, let's get back to Pro here. I actually have to share the right screen. And sorry, producer, I don't know why I thought you were gone. I didn't see you over there in the guest list. But glad you're still here. All right, folks, enough of all of that. It's time for pre-market pulse. Let's check in with 13. How you doing this morning?
I'm okay. I seem to be coming under the weather with something, so just trying to fight that. But, I don't expect it to last too long.
Okay, good. Healthy. You're going to be all right. Folks, let's be extra nice to 13.
One more day. One more day also. After today, I have one more day. So then I have all weekend and the long weekend to get healthy.
That's correct. But I think you, me, and everyone here in the chat don't want you to spend your long weekend sick. So let's hope that you're able to enjoy that. We're going to be extra nice to you. We're going to send you positive vibes here today. Now, do you want to start with any of the movers, or can I start with two stocks that people wanted to take a look at?
We can start with two stocks that folks want to look at.
Boom. That's exactly what we're going to do. Folks, get your victory laps ready. Get your register rings ready. I know JR lost his voice yesterday, all right? And he told us that. But he told us about QURE yesterday. And this stock was sitting in a 20 handle. And he said, you know what, guys? I could see this stock really kind of trading back up towards 60. Well, literally 24 hours later, we get a news headline. Unicare shares are trading higher after the company announced the FDA found a 3-year analysis from the phase 1-2 study acceptable as a primary basis for a BLA admission and the accredited approval of AMT-130 for Huntington's disease. What did that do to QURE? Massive move higher. His stock is up by 65%. If we look inside, look how crispy the call was. He said that this thing could probably go to 60s. The impulse move off this tapped 53. Literally 7 points away. This is a 60, and this is holding higher by 65%. This is what it looks like inside. So we kind of have an island forming here, at least on the 5-minute chart. I would say that this 43.5, if we can hold this, perhaps we would go higher here. Otherwise, we enter the gap. We'll see what's going on this. Sometimes you get so lucky with the news. I don't think he was expecting this here today. But man, oh man, we literally talked about QURE yesterday. I put it on my notes list because I thought that was interesting. Hadn't got around to buying it yet. And bam, 64% pop here today.
Wasn't there some kind of comment that I don't remember which gentleman you're referring to that brought this up, but I could have sworn there was a brief discussion on different gene therapy companies.
Yeah, this is when we were looking at NTLA, I think the previous night in happy hour. And I think that's what you're referencing there. QURE here, this was mentioned by JR Romero during the T3 segment yesterday. Also worth noting here, short interest is high. It's high by our metric on days to cover, and it's almost high on our percent of float shorted, coming in just shy of 18% there. So big move here in Cure. Congrats if you took that off JR's call yesterday. Let's see how this trades here today. We might get some more action on this.
Yeah, go ahead. What's really big about this, I mean, I'm looking at the news. Yeah, great that it has high short interest. I think that's helping it along, but this news is pretty substantial.
Yeah.
Only phase 1 and 2 studies were performed on this this AMT 130 for Huntington's disease. Now we're talking about BLA submission. This is they're gonna have a license to sell this drug. That's what this BLA submission is, and that's why it's so significant. They're literally leapfrogging over one of the most expensive parts of the entire clinical trial process, which is phase 3, and they're just going right to market with this. So that's substantial. I wouldn't be surprised if this continued to trade higher. Maybe we even get a gap fill that takes us up to 66. I'm not going to promise that, but this is some pretty substantial news for a biotech company.
Nikhil is asking, so how do we play this? Get out or wait for getting higher? Well, if you took this off of nobody can advise you what to do. Like, this is part of this job. If you want to be a long-term trader, you are going to have to figure out how to get those questions answered yourself. Everyone's risk profile is different. For me, I'd be more than happy to tell you exactly how I would handle this. Remember, I added this to my watch list yesterday after we talked to JR. I did not buy this. So just as a caveat, when I'm looking at a stock like this, and yesterday, we were basically right around the 200 there, and we were looking for it maybe to trade up. We had a huge gap here that was part of the potential target. When I have an equity that overnight trades up 64%, I'm scaling. I'm scaling out of this. Let's say I had 100 shares. I'm selling 50 here this morning for sure. If this thing goes to 50, 60, great. At that point, maybe we can even determine if we want to have an investment in it. If I have 100 shares of this, I'm selling half of it. If I have 1,000 shares of this, I'm selling half of it. I'm going to book some of those gains just to make sure. Here we are. We could go, this on the daily chart kind of looks like no man's land. We are in the middle of a huge gap here. What if the market just wants this thing to come back in a little bit? Okay, what if the gap wants to get filled? We don't know what the future holds. So as far as how would you actually handle this, if you're already in it, scaling out seems to be the move. If you want to invest in this, I would do a little bit more due diligence on the piece of news. Do what 13 does, where you kind of figure out what some of these timelines are and other milestones that you can watch along your investment thesis. And then maybe wait for that to get to a point where it looks like it's put in some type of support level. If you're looking for just a trade, use the technicals that you find the most helpful. Maybe it's Bollinger Bands or VWAP or a moving average or something of that nature. The key point, if you bought this yesterday off of JR's mention of this, I would at least be booking some of those gains today.
Yeah, this looks like it has support and resistance every $5. So you could draw some lines there and try to use that for some trades. I mean, I've got 35 and 40 and 50 on here. I should put 45 because that's the price we're trying to recapture. That was support on our first move up here to 53. But if you look further to the left in 2019 and 2020, there's a lot more consolidation. You can draw some price action from. That might give you some better support and resistance levels. And from looking at this formation here during that period, 2019 and 2020, there's a lot of resistance above 50. So, and we're already getting into some of it down here in the 40s, but as you get to 50, it really starts to get a lot thicker at the higher you go. So just keep that in mind as we're trading this. I don't know if we're going to see that gap completely fill, but I wouldn't be surprised given the news.
Yeah. Okay. And then from the chat here, I appreciate you folks. Kathy says, I took a small position in QR to keep it on your radar. Kathy, if that's small for you, perhaps you're staying in. I know that you have kind of a longer term view. Lance says that makes two of us, meaning Lance would scale. Lion says always take some profit. Sounds like Lion would scale out. All is rising says, yep, lock in profit. Seems like we're all kind of on the same page there. So let me know if that Marcus here never made a loss locking in gains. Absolutely. So that's kind of how I would handle it. Good stuff here. QURE. Now the other one, I'm actually going to flip over to the movers too.
And it's okay too, because I was looking at QURE before I came on, so that's one of the movers.
Oh, yeah, perfect. Okay, great. The other one here, and this might be a little bit of a curveball. This was requested here from the chat. PDYN, Paladine AI. This is one that we've traded a whole bunch before. We've talked about this one quite a bit here. Looks like they had a piece of news here today that popped us above 7. But boy, oh boy, we had the dreaded big-time pullback. Retraced 90% of that impulse move, made 2 attempts to recapture VWAP, were unsuccessful in both attempts. Here's the news that's fresh as of today. Paladine AI awarded a pair of contracts to research, develop, and operationally validate Swarm OS and Gremlin X under the Army's Disruptive Applications Broad Agency announcement. The terms are not disclosed. So here's the thing about this. I've gone on a number of rants because I held a company that ended up being a fraud, and this company put out a ton of PRs and never included terms or numbers in it. That is a huge red flag for me for the rest of my investing career. This sounds good on the surface. I imagine, and 13 will get your reaction to this too, I would imagine that the kind of pullback here is that there's not a whole lot of numbers to go on here. There's news and it's good. And we all know that the whole like drone thing is going to proliferate and there's going to be more and more of that, but no terms here on this one. And I think that's why you're seeing some of this action. Let's take a quick peek at the short interest just to remind us on this one. 16.3% of the float shorted, 2.9 days to cover. It's elevated, but it's not high. Float on this just shy of 42 million. 13, you got any thoughts here on this PDYM chart or news or otherwise?
So we have a Department of War drone dominance program, that's undergoing, I think, we talked about this recently. I think it's phase 2 testing right now. We're supposed to know the results of that in August.
Yep.
I'm wondering if this is one of the companies. Do you remember what we were talking about? The Department of War with their drone dominance program that they're undergoing tests right now.
We talked about this yesterday.
And then the next test is going to be,
So
it's going to narrow it down the field.
Here's my note sheet. This is a good reminder, 13. Here's my note sheet from yesterday. The Gauntlet 2 drone trial is the second major evaluation phase of the Pentagon's drone dominance program that you just spoke about. It's tied to a $300 million minimum prototype order effort and is expected to help identify systems for scaling and fielding. This indeed, the qualifying, if this is what you were talking about yesterday, the qualifying event runs from June 8th to June 20th of this year. What happens after that? The program moves to the next evaluation and contracting steps rather than simply ending there. The published phase 2 structure says the qualifier screens viable systems, and then the winners of that proceed to the production and delivery test, and then to the Gauntlet 2 final. So you're wondering here then if PDYN is one of these in that qualifying event.
I'm kind of wondering because now we're talking about how they're trying to get these systems to the U.S. Department of War. I'm just I'm not sure if they're part of that, but it's kind of interesting to have this kind of news happen at the same time that's going on. I don't know if there's a complete correlation, but we're talking about drones, and that is the testing program for drone combat capabilities and supply chain capabilities. So
that really good mention there. Also, so just practically speaking, the government uses this June window, this qualifying phase, to narrow the field, and then whatever finalists make it from that, they're going to test to see if they can actually manufacture and then deliver those drones at scale. Here, Tess, doing some legwork for us. Paladine AI is not officially listed to the Pentagon's initial 25 vendor selection for the drone dominance program. They operate as an agile mid-tier prime and technology provider supplying crucial autonomy, swarming software, and hardware solutions directly to the DoD. Thank you, Tess, for doing some of the legwork for us. 13, I still think the thought process was spot on.
Well, thank you. And thank you, Tess, for getting that, because that's very helpful. That answers my question.
Okay, let's rock out some of these movers. First one here, I got no news. Maybe you found something, but EHGO here is going to be Eshalgo. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong. This is a Chinese name. We had an impulse move up to, I guess the first impulse move took us to 4. The second doubled it and took it to 8. We've pulled back here. We've retraced about 50% of the entire move here this morning. We're right at VWAP and we're holding higher by 187%. Let me just confirm that we've got no news in here. Yep, I don't see anything. I don't see anything fresh on this. It looks like China pump and dump theme. 1.17% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover float on this, 1.25 million. 13, I know there's probably not a lot here, but did you have anything on EHGO?
Yeah, so it looks like they did do a 1 for 16 reverse split back in April. So that's the result of, that's why you have this 1.25 million share float. I didn't go through all of their Form 6s that they had, but apparently at one point back in April, they were halted for news. So I don't know what that news halt was for. Fast forward to May and June, nothing I'm really seeing here that would drive this up. Might be just on the end of the Iran war and some of these other names that are in that depend on certain supply chains coming out of that area may perform a little bit better. This is in construction services and supplies. They also distribute office equipment. So that's all I would have for on the news side or the what the company does side. As far as their financials go, they have revenue, they have some cash. I'm sorry, they have they have some cash, and I think they were profitable at one point. Let me just go back here. So they did have some profitability back in 2024. Looks like their operating expenses have dramatically increased, and now they are not profitable lately for the past year, it looks like. So I don't see any news that's going on, but when we look at the chart this morning, VWAP was the resistance. Let's see if that's still the case. Looks like we're trading above VWAP now, so that's become support. If we continue to climb higher, the next resistance I would probably keep an eye on is 525 and then 560.
Okay, yeah, I'd be looking at 6 here. That 560 looks pretty good too. All right, next here is CLWT, and this one I believe actually had a catalyst. Yeah, this is okay. So this is Eurotech Holdings. This is a Hong Kong name. We had an impulse move that took us above 5, 70% retracement of that stick. But we did actually have a catalyst here. Eurotech Holdings selects strategic partner C-Clean to launch its next-gen hybrid ballast water port reception and treatment facility in Norway. Okay, so that accounts for the initial spike. We're kind of curling here, finding some support maybe at 230. We'll see if we can recapture VWAP. I'll give a quick overview here, a look around the horn, and then 13, I'll turn this over to you and step away for just a moment. All right. 1.26% of the float shorted, 3.43 days to cover. I don't think that's material at all here today. The float is 3.37 million. On average, the stock trades 500,000 shares. Today, it's done 50 million. 13, what do you think here? CLWT, and I'll be right back.
Well, I think it looks pretty similar to the last one we were looking at. This is a Hong Kong name. Fortunately, it does have news. Float 3.37 million shares. Company does have revenue. It has cash, and it is slightly profitable. So this is looking a lot more like a real company than some of these other names we've traded before. But this outsized move is something that we should still be cautious about. The only news that I have here of any at all in any recent headline here is what we got today. There was also some other news about how they were about this particular ballast system that they're now going to be installing in Norway. There was news about that a couple of weeks ago on June 9th. So that's really all this is about, is just this new hybrid facility system and the ballast water system for maritime vessels. And now Norway is a customer. That's basically it. Looking at the chart here, we have VWAP as resistance. I have that up at 306. Looks like we are trying to establish a base here around somewhere between 235 and 240. Continue to climb higher, we're going to want to see a recapture of 280. That's the next resistance just before VWAP. We should be able to move on to VWAP after that, but this is going to need a lot better volume than what it's getting right now. And then as soon as I say something, it gets a little bit of a push up. How about that? let's see if that can recapture VWAP and 280. Those can be the next two resistance areas. And if we get past VWAP, I would say 350, 360 is going to be the next resistance above VWAP.
Okay, good stuff there. CLWT. Now, 13, we already did QURE. Did you have anything else off of this list? I know LNAI had NASDAQ recompliance.
No, I didn't.
Okay, so I see Billy mentioning LNAI. I see Kathy mentioning it here. I'll just go ahead and do this. This is Lunai Bioworks. We had a spike in the after hours yesterday, another one here in the pre-market, but this is met with selling. We're actually lower than where we found some support yesterday. Stock is still holding higher here by 68%, but we had last night, which really kind of started this, we had them regaining NASDAQ compliance. Now, the CEO has a letter to shareholders. I actually haven't gone through this, so I would like to update you on the developments. So pretty good. We've got some developments here. Probably need to go through this. I'll skim this here when I get a chance. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 8.72% of the float shorted, 1.5 days to cover. So there's some there, but I don't think it's going to lead to a short squeeze. Float on this, 3.95 million. On average, it trades 2.8 million. Today, it's traded 14 million. So we'll see if LNAI gets rolling here. I hate to even do this, 13, but we might as well start with this. I'm going to connect the two peaks here with a trend line to give us a target in case the stock turns around. I will say that as I sit here, I don't necessarily think we're going to do this. We've seen the NASDAQ recompliance headline before. It leads to a pop, but it's not necessarily this great catalyst or anything here. We'll see if it can recapture VWAP. What do you think in the interim?
I think they need cash.
Okay, there we go.
I mean, I'm just looking at their cash holdings right now. It's better than what it has been in the past. It looks like it's 3.15 million, but they have no revenue, so they're going to burn through all that cash probably in a quarter. So I think we're going to see a capital raise at some point. I don't know exactly when. Could be as early as today, but I don't think there's any question here if they're going to continue. Being a biotech and develop their drug, they're going to need more cash.
Okay. So possible raise candidate here, it sounds like.
Possible raise, yeah.
Okay. Great. So looks like, let's see, ICCM is on here. I didn't look at this earlier. This is IceCure Medical. IceCure Medica, excuse me. No, Medical. IceCare Medical. Shares are trading higher after the company announced a 70% increase in its U.S. active commercial install base of ProSense for breast cancer cryoablation. Okay, so a breast cancer treatment here. This initially went to 8, pulled back, held the 9 EMA. We're curling back towards the VWAP. I guess if we can break that, that probably sets up 7 as the next resistance area. Quick peek at the short interest on this name. 1.51% of the float shorted, 1 day to cover. I think that's negligible. Float on this, 47.5 million, but it's a ghost town on average. So be sure you have this wrapped up. You have anything on ICCM?
I had a little bit of a heavier float.
Yeah.
Might not trade as wildly as some of these other ones could. Let's look at their financials, see how that looks here. So they barely have any revenue. Have lost, not profitable, but they seem to have enough cash for at least a quarter or two. So don't know if they'll need to raise that at all. But I was just quickly looking to see, who owned ProSense. Didn't get anywhere with that. But that's what I would get out of this. It looks like they're okay for now. Let me look at the chart. Okay, so this has been, coming down. It looks like it may have even tested the 20-day SMA in the after hours yesterday. But big reversal here. I would say $5 kind of stands out. Maybe that's where this goes next. Okay.
All right. And real quick, guys, smash up the like for our guy 13, who's not 100% still out here breaking stocks down like they're fractions, so you can be better prepared when the market opens. That's what we do around these parts. Be sure to smash up the like. And 13, thank you. Sure. Just kind of looking at the list here a little bit, it does look like GDHG is back. That was a mover from yesterday. Stock's up 15.5% here. Also looks like I noticed on the movers list here, SpaceX up another 4.12%, ASTS up 4.5%. That's on the news of them launching their satellites. They used a Falcon 9 rocket to do that. That's just interesting to me. They used SpaceX to get it up there, but what they're getting up there is a competing product to Starlink. So how does the math on that? I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm sure SpaceX is happy to take their money and put their satellite up there, because SpaceX is going to continue to do that too, and they're going to be better satellites, and there's going to be a lot more of them.
I was going to say my only read through on this whole thing. I'm kind of being facetious here, but my only read through on this whole thing is SpaceX must have such confidence in Starlink that linking a competitor's satellite is NBD for them. That's my read through on it. But anyway, those two are on the list. I did see someone was asking for the EOSE chart here. EOSE. This has been I'll be honest, this has been a great story for the length of this show. This stock years ago was a mover, and we had a couple of folks in here. Maybe I'm a little under the weather too, 13. We had a couple of folks in here talking about how this was going to be a great play inevitably in the future. And then there were other folks arguing that, hey, it's just a mover. It's not going to be great. This thing went almost to 20. In fact, it might have even printed 20 on that late day in the end of 2025. It's come back in a little bit, but it hasn't really broke down. We do have a catalyst here today. EOS Energy Enterprises. Shares are trading higher after the company announced a binding master supply agreement and KPAC Energy, or with KPAC Energy. Stock is only up 1.3% here. It did pop on this news, but I think the notable thing on this pop was that we basically couldn't get above the high that we put in yesterday. We popped in the pre-market yesterday, came in, on the open, tried to trade up, couldn't get higher than the same spot that we found rejection at here in the pre-market. And we are currently sitting right at or near VWAP. Short interest on this, 30.8% with 4.27 days to cover. So it's definitely high, and there's some squeeze potential here. But the float, thick with 3 Cs, 335 million shares in the float. 13, do you have anything here on the EOSE chart?
Yeah, several things. I think so. Start with going to the weekly, and you'll find that the 20-week SMA is just a pain in the ass for this stock. Since it lost this moving average in beginning of February, it has struggled to recapture it and has still not been able to do so. I also have a trend line that I started from January of last year and drew it through the high of May last year. And if you keep that going, you'll find that these attempts trying to get back up through the 20-week SMA were also met with resistance by that trend line. So this whole area here around 750 is, I think the price needs to get over and close over this by the end of the month. Because if it cannot do that, then I think that we're going to go lower. If you look at a monthly chart, you can see where my concern is. We're losing the 20-month SMA. If we close beneath that, I think that we go down to the 50-month SMA, maybe even beneath it. That 20-month SMA, 751. So I think it goes without saying we need to close the month above that.
Yeah, this is a masterclass in using charts of longer time frames to really kind of hammer out what the chart looks like. I am in complete agreement with what you just said there on everything. K-Pax, the movie, that's a blast from the past there, Chris. God, I every day you remind me that you and I are about the same age. There certainly are a lot of doctors on this planet, aren't there? All right, less than 2 minutes till we open here. 13, do you have anything else that you want to take a look at prior to us opening?
Carlos asked what I thought about AMKR.
Okay.
This is another semiconductor name. I haven't really looked at or traded this much. Looks like they had earnings last month. They kind of guided it in the mid-range of the estimates for their fiscal year 2028 sales and earnings. So I guess I would probably have to go with the theme, but let me go to the chart and give you some levels, because I think that's what you're asking for. And one of the things that I see right away is that yesterday we had a pretty not so great looking reversal candle.
Yep.
Might have less than 20 seconds. So, it looks even worse on the weekly. I'd say, like, let's see what happens when we close this week, because that weekly candle looks like it could really be a reversal. And if we do get this weekly candle to close like that, I think we come back in. We're a little extended.
Okay. All right. And then G-Man here, Ryan, SPYs trading below 752.24. That looks bullish to me. The nearest and strongest support, I'll just leave this on the screen for you. We are open.
All right.
We are open.
Just looking around, seeing. Okay, so EHGO is starting to EH-go.
Good stuff there.
Looks like the illness is not affecting humor.
No, I was just thinking the same thing. I was like, how am I going to put this without jinxing him?
So that's continuing to push higher. You might get some resistance as we push further into the 5 handle. It looks like around 570, 580. That's going to be your next resistance if we can move through this 525 area.
QURE, this looks like it's coming in. I did have a fair value gap earlier, but it's not unmitigated. So I'll draw it on the chart here, but I don't necessarily think that this is setting up for a trade. We're going to need something else here for that. And of course, I've put those controls in the wrong spot. Let's do that here again. Where's my rectangle tool? Come on. I'm going to forget it. There we go. Here's your fair value gap. We already came into it once. I wouldn't necessarily trade off that. Let's see if QURE finds a support level.
EHGO still climbing, running into that resistance right at that 570, 580 area. There's a seller in the way at 585. We've got some great volume. So as long as this continues to expand here, we're going to push through that. But that's where you have your resistance right now until we get through it.
Okay, market pull right out of the open here, 750. This is going to be the next support. We'll see if we hold that there on the SPY. Really quickly, I did like this. Jay, SpaceX with a buy yesterday, going to be more of an AI play than a space play the next 2 years, in my opinion. I think there is definitely going to be a huge AI angle there. I don't know if it's going to be enough to overtake space, though.
Look at the SpaceX 5-minute chart. You can draw a trend line from a couple of the highs, one from the after hours high and then the one from the pre-market high.
I think I see exactly what you're talking about, 13. I think it's right here to right here. This is our target that we are on our way to.
We are beelining right for that. And it's funny because if you look to the left a little bit more and see where the top in the second part of the day was yesterday, that kind of lines up pretty well with where this price could go in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Yep,
so
sure does.
That would give us somewhere between 217 and 218 to look forward to here with this upward movement.
And then 13, I don't know if you caught this here this morning, but we had Ed Egilinsky from Direction on. They have a levered ETF for SpaceX. Direction does a really good job of tracking and balancing. You get a really kind of a tight relationship there. And it's called Liftoff. LOFF is your ticker. Direction doing it again with the tickers. That is for sure. Absolutely love it.
Oh my goodness. So I've been talking about Fermi.
Yep.
As the one of the things to look at with all the pushback among different communities and the data center
stuff.
build-up.
Yep.
So I think that the designated AI campuses might start to get a lot more attention, and we're already seeing attention being given to SpaceX with their Colossus AI, big companies wanting to lease that out, that compute out. So I think there's still a big demand for compute, and being that there's pushback on data centers, there's going to be a movement to go to where they're already allowed to be built. And Fermi has already got a campus, a massive campus that they're working on.
Okay, Fermi here up another 6.3%. Matthew says been adding to Fermi lately. Congrats on that. And by the way, so far, SPY has held 750.
Excellent. And by the way, went. This thing climbed up to 678, I think. 670.
Looks like register rings abound. The robot killer got a buck off this right off the open. 13, nice. The register ring for you as well. Good stuff there. QURE continuing to come back in. Lion says that WDC is ripping here today. So the memory names continuing to climb. I would imagine they're all doing the same thing. Here's WDC. Here's Micron. Micron going for Oh, actually, Micron reversed. So this did curl a little bit, but it's since reversed. Let's take a look at SanDisk real quick. SanDisk up another percent. This actually pulled back too. So WDC, the outperformer line.
Whoa, something must have just happened because SpaceX just had a massive pull.
I did see puts, so I didn't mention it because I wasn't sure if they were big or not. I did see some puts come. Yeah, here we go. SpaceX. Those are the calls. There were just puts on here. Let me see if I can get those puts. Yeah, 170 put. And those are for July. Those are the monthly Julys. There were a couple of those. I don't know if that's why here. The market did bounce off 750.
Well, let's see where it gets support. I'd still think that trend line is in play. We just opened the regular session, and we have all day to trade this.
Yeah. SPY here looks like on this move up, it is trying to test VWAP. Cannot get through it. I've got that at 750.88.
I wonder if this Fermi news is on, because there was a rumor that OpenAI would be looking at Fermi as one of the places they're trying to lease compute out to. So if there is a deal between Fermi and OpenAI, this could be a massive deal for Fermi.
Okay. EOSC, let's take a look at that. Oh, come on. EOSC straight up out of the gate. This actually at the high, 750 your resistance area.
Trey, that news was, I mean, okay, so is this that they just verified that they are now leasing it, or because earlier it was, I think, just an agreement to lease that out, and that's what it was already running on, because that news about the Anthropic, compute lease was news from, I believe, last week, or even the day of SpaceX IPO, or the day before, I thought. It's a little bit of old news, but if you're saying they just verified that they're using it, then that's new. CRM tanking. All right.
Did it cough up that resistance line or that support area?
It totally did. Totally did.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So this is what I was talking about. I know I said the resistance area there. The support trend line. This is a long-term trend line. We talked about this, I feel like yesterday, with Chris, right? And now we're beneath that.
Yeah.
So I think we had next spots down here in 130s and then 120s, if I'm not mistaken.
So we were talking about IGV yesterday.
Yep.
And this is actually one of the top 10 holdings, as is Microsoft, Oracle. Oracle is actually number 1 holding. So IGV is probably going to continue to get hammered. I think that we are going to definitely come back into the mid 70s with IGV. I'm just looking at all the different holdings that IGV has. A lot of them look like they're ready to come back in. If you want something better that has been performing and not down over 13% year to date, there's other ETFs that have some of the same stuff but just different weights. BAI and ARTY are better. They have performed better anyway.
And then real quick here. So I asked Perplexity here. Reports indicate SpaceX is leasing AI compute capacity from Anthropic, specifically access to its Colossal One data center, though the exact duration and terms have been described differently from different sources. One filing-based report says Anthropic agreed to pay $1.25 billion per month through May of 2029. Mm-hmm. Elon later characterized it as a 180-day lease with a 90-day mutual cancellation notice. So what that all means in English, the deal is real, but the public description of how long it lasts is inconsistent at best.
But the rate of what they're paying isn't contested, right?
No, it's the length of the deal is the inconsistent part. Yep.
All right. But yeah, CRM. This is a new, looks like 3-year low. We're not going to make significantly older lows. Like we're not going to see 2020 lows until we get down under 120.
SpaceX, by the way, let's take a quick look at it. SPCX. I know there's a lot of tickers with all the ETFs that we're looking at now. SpaceX, Marionette mentioning the first red candle here for SpaceX This does look like it's turning around. Looking at this, I would want to say that 195 would be a key level here to the downside, key support level that it would want to hold.
Maybe. It looks like Rackspace is up again today.
That's RXT, right?
Yep. Just a couple of green candles right out the gate.
And then, folks, we do have an all access that we need to play here today. Producer, give me an ETA on that one. I know we've got to do that here pretty soon. We'll get that out of the way. About 5 minutes from now. Probably do that at 9:45 here.
All right. So QURE hasn't, we made some lower prints, but we are still trying to recover. We're trading back above VWAP now. It's just a little slow moving right now, but let's see what we end up getting here. But we just probably need to wait with that one. EHGO, this popped up to almost $7, came back in under VWAP. It is trying to hold above $5 now. PDYN, trading quite similarly to QURE. It's got a lot of pre-market consolidation to get through. Just kind of went sideways since 7 a.m. Looks like some of these quantum and space names are coming back. Velo having a good morning after a brief drop. That was printing 26.55 toward the end of the day before it dropped down underneath 25. Now it's trying
getting a little bit of a bounce back here today on Velo.
Rocket Lab up. I think there was news regarding that, or maybe this is just more of that halo effect with the space names. This still holding 100. This is what I want to see. SMR news.
Yeah, I think SMR did have some news here today. Let me check that out here real quick. SMR, this is trading up towards the highs. 1050 looks to be the pre-market resistance area from the impulse move. The news here, NewScale Power awards contract to Mirion Technologies unit Paragon to complete the final design and development of a highly integrated protective system for its power module. Again, terms not disclosed on that. SPY getting rejected at VWAP and the 9 EMA. I have no buy indicators on the signal yet, or no signals on the indicator. Keep screwing that up.
A little weird that we're moving on that. That the SMR is moving on that. They awarded a contract, so it's going up. So they're paying somebody and it's going up. Okay. EHGO is trying to push back up to that the 650s where it was running into some resistance.
I think 7 here is going to be the spot that we're going to need to get over. Good morning, Zippity Doodah. Good morning to anyone else that I might have missed here today. Hopefully y'all are doing well. Halt up on M10 WIS. Let's take a look at that. 384. Boy, this is moving on volume. This is a China name, so I guess I wouldn't be shocked if this didn't have any news. Let's see, though. No fresh news on this one.
They just raised money. It's funny. Looks like last week it ran up after it had terminated at the market sales agreement for up to 100 million, and then it does a direct registered offering. That's hilarious. So it ran up, and then it did this. They did an offering. Okay.
Amazon tanking. In fact, Amazon, this is actually straight down here. QURE rejected at its VWAP. Here's Amazon 2.4. Did we have news on this? Volume actually looks a little bit light. Down 1.5% though. Yeah, I almost wonder if this is on that Oracle news from yesterday. Amazon Web Services eliminates network bandwidth charges for Amazon GameLift servers, Generation 6 and newer instances effective June 15th. I don't.
Oracle denies report that security concerns killed potential.
We talked about it yesterday. I led with that in the A block today. Yep.
Isn't that kind of flying in the face of what Microsoft said? I don't remember who said that, but if Microsoft said that, then
Yeah.
Like there's some trouble between the companies.
Yeah, let me pull that back up here. Okay, so here's what we talked about earlier. Oracle denies the report that the security concerns killed that potential $3 billion Microsoft deal. 13. Bless you. So let's see. What was the quote here? An Oracle spokesperson disputed the report and told Business Insider that Microsoft remains both a partner and a customer of Oracle's cloud infrastructure, and that the two companies continue to maintain a strong collaborative relationship while regularly exploring opportunities to expand their relationship together. So that was the denial on that Microsoft deal. All right, 13. We're going to do this AA. We're going to get this one out of the way. We'll be right back here. It's not terribly long here today. I think it's about 15 minutes. We'll be right back. We're going to go ahead and play this one right now. Hey, Zingers. Welcome back to another All Access. Today, we have another exciting guest for you. We're speaking with Dan Brahmi, CEO of Cyabra. Cyabra helps global enterprises and governments restore trust and authenticity online by analyzing manipulated content, coordinated behaviors, and inauthentic actors. Ticker is CYAB on the NASDAQ. All Access starts right now. Welcome, Dan. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Ryan.
Likewise. Let me just start right into it here. Can you give us an overview of Cyabra and the problem that it's solving?
Absolutely. So the problem that we believe in right now is that the lines online have become completely blurred, right? Every single government and enterprise brand around the world has or is operating in a very polluted information environment. And a lot of what we see, watch, and read online, it might seem organic, and it might, but at the end of the day, we see that there's a lot of coordinated and inauthentic behavior that is driving impact, that is changing opinions over time. And so the way that we look at it is we analyze the actor, the behavior, and the content. We need to make sure that people and organizations that are operating our system have the ability to understand how things are getting amplified. Should we trust it? Should we rely upon it? And whether it is trying to shape perception. And at the end of the roll, you turn that evidence into very clear mitigation steps.
Okay, that's very interesting and really poignant for our time right now, no question. Why has digital trust become such a critical issue for governments and enterprises today?
Ryan, we've been at it for 8 years. And so for us, it may not be a surprise, but at the end of the day, AI has collapsed completely the cost of generating fake content and creating fake personas, bots, sock puppets, spam accounts over social media, you name it. And so it's very easy to see the new reality where platforms have the ability to shape reputation, markets, policy-making decisions that are being driven on a day-to-day basis. And the gap that we are trying to grasp here and to bridge over is that you see something on social media and it feels like, something feels off in a way. And I'm sure you've seen it a couple of times. Absolutely. At the very least, right? Absolutely. And then our goal is to say, well, hold on a second. Before you do something, before you react as the largest food and beverage company or a large retail company, before you do something about it, you need to understand whether you should ignore, monitor very closely because it might turn into a storm, or you should genuinely do something about it, right? And so that's the goal, because it's become so cheap and so accessible. AI has become so cheap and so accessible that the challenge has become mainstream and everybody can really orchestrate something nowadays.
Okay, and that leads right into my next question here. How does Cyabra's technology identify coordinated manipulation and inauthentic accounts online?
So there are actually 3 main layers that we touched upon a little bit earlier that are part of the larger operating system that we provide to our customers. The first one is the actor, so kind of understanding the source, where it's coming from. The behavior, which is how do you push, how do you propagate, how do you create an influence and make something become impactful over time? What's the speed and the strength at which the snowball becomes a snowball, as a matter of fact? And then last but not least, it's the content. So the whole framework is ABC, the actor, the behavior, and the content. And the content might be, how toxic is it? How spammy of a behavior and a type of conversation is it from a narrative standpoint? And then are we even looking at a video that's real, or is it a deep fake of the CEO of a publicly traded company that's doing something? How weird it would be if I was the deep fake of myself, actually doing something as the CEO of Cyabra, right? So the authenticity of those signals, of those accounts, temporal behavior and patterns that we look at, the coordination across different networks and different narratives, which allows us to understand what is being pushed out there. And all of that is just sitting under a very large, sort of 8 years of data corpus that allows the system to really be that analytical infrastructure and not the truth arbiter.
Okay, interesting. That's very, very interesting. Listen, what differentiates Cyabra from social listening or cybersecurity platforms?
We play very well, and we actually partner up with these folks actually quite often. Social listening at the end of the day is a very established industry that's looking at what is being said and how loud is it. Cybersecurity is going to be looking at, you could say, sort of finding a way to protect your networks, whether it's external or internal networks. But neither really combines that ability to understand the coordinated behavior, like you said, the authenticity, the impact under one view. And so from our perspective, what really drives the possibility of partnering up with those companies and be who we are is, first of all, 8 years of data corpus, the ability to label case studies over case studies and researchers for the last 8 years and having over 150 of them is a real differentiator, because we've been at it when people didn't think about it. And now it allows us to train and continuously improve ourselves. Second thing, really related to national security. Being deployed in many different countries around the world across different deployments, which are within national security and defense organizations, really gives us the trust and the credibility at very high stakes level. And that combination we believe, gives us the unique advantage of being who we are.
Okay, very, very interesting. Can you share a recent example of how Cyabra helped an organization uncover an inauthentic influence campaign?
Absolutely. Don't be mad at me. I may not be able to name the customer.
That's okay.
But I'll give you a true story, so I apologize in advance. So there's a global Fortune 5000 brand that thought was actually facing a huge organic backlash because of the launch of a new product. And so you see at first that when you deep dive into it within minutes, you quickly realize that not only you have thousands of accounts that are involved, same messaging, same temporal timestamps, and same type of amplification. And you can see that within minutes, not within hours, not within days. It really looked like it was orchestrated from the ground up. So really, you could see, just using our product, that the first response should have been, without using us, oh, we have to do something about it. We have to say that it's not our fault. We have to say that we are not responsible for what's being said. But the reality is, once they understood the nature of that storm, they understood that it was incredibly highly coordinated. We're talking more than 25% of inauthenticity. That's enormous. That's way higher than the benchmark. The narratives were flying all over the place over social media and traditional media outlets. And so you could clearly see that a few main orchestrators and a few main operators on social were driving the vast majority of the crowd. So they actually changed their entire crisis management response based on that, utilizing their chief communications and chief marketing people within the organization. And that's it. They were able to act proportionately based on the evidence and not necessarily based on the sort of front stage level of evidence.
Yeah, totally get it. Now listen, I've been an internet veteran since it came around, okay? I've seen plenty of this stuff, but recently we've seen increasing concerns around AI-generated content and deepfakes, which is much harder. How is Cyabra positioned to address these emerging threats?
We have been developing a deepfake detection solution for the last few years. And this has always been part of our strategy, right? When you talk about authenticity, you can't just be the solution that is able to say, here are the bots. You also have to say, here are the bots, here are the generated pieces of content, like you say, the deepfakes. And so it is actually the same framework of thinking, right? It's the same AI that has become much cheaper and much more accessible over any platform you can think of. Most of those AI patterns and platforms have a great tool for the day-to-day obvious reasons. But it also makes everybody more, well, I say gullible because of the nature of those things. And so it's going to be the same thing for the deepfake detection. It is a very strong pillar and a very strong part of our operating system, but it is one pillar. It's to understand the authenticity of the content as much as we would need to understand whether you need to react if the impact is very big because of a narrative and an audience that is very important for you as a brand.
Okay, I think that's the right way to go about it. Look, what industries are driving the strongest demand for Cyabra's platform today?
Oh, you know what? For the longest time ever, we've been close to 100% revenue being driven by national security and defense. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy to say that in the last 2 years, this has started to shift much more towards, enterprise brands worldwide. Today, actually, the mix is roughly 75% approximately for the national security, government, and defense side of the house from a revenue standpoint. And then the rest of the 25% is the enterprise customers. And so we're talking about on the national security side, we've been talking with working with NATO. We've been working with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of South Korea, and so on and so forth. And then on the enterprise side, we have been working with companies like PepsiCo, companies like Activision, Elf Beauty, and even Golin, who's now part of Omnicom. So this is kind of the clear distinction where the company is. It is a dual-use technology, just like a smaller cousin of a Palantir, as you can make the math. We've also raised money from Founders Fund. If you can do the math as well, it's Peter Thiel and everybody else. We're very proud of our roots. We're very proud of the geekiness of the product and the people in it. And the latest numbers from Q1 were $7 million of annual recurring revenue at roughly 86% gross margins. Last time I checked 2 years ago, we were not even making 70%. So it's going up.
Okay, and going up meaningfully. Where are you seeing the greatest growth opportunities?
I think that the industry is about to become a version 2.0 of itself. And I'm just so glad that we're here to say it, right? It's the beautiful thing about it because we've been at it for 8 years. So category leadership is a very important point for us, making sure that narrative intelligence, disinformation security, deepfake detection, that we are there, that we are at the podium, at the entry of the realm, and we provide a valuable and trusted solution to the organizations that rely on us. So the category leadership is a very important one. We need to continue growing. 7 million of annual recurring revenue. Sure, we were making 2-3 million, not even 2 years ago, right? And it's growing well. But I can tell you that the next quarters are going to be as good as the previous one, which was our first quarter as a public company, by the way. There is a massive public sector opportunity that's only growing by the week because governments around the world have a significant portion of their investment into technologies that can give them clarity into that decision-making process. And then making sure that the demand for digital trust is not only getting stronger, but it's structural and it is growing at the right pace. And we are there when it happens.
Okay, perfect. And speaking of the next several quarters here, what are the key priorities and milestones that investors should be watching over the next 12 months?
So from our perspective, the 12 months is going to be from a very selfish perspective from Cyabra. By the end of the year, we need to add at the very least 50% year-over-year growth, keep the margins range anywhere between 85 to 90%, very much what we're looking at right now, and it's completely feasible, as you can understand. And then continuously showing to the market as a recently publicly traded company on the NASDAQ that we are not only worthy of being where we are, but we are worthy of leading the pack. That's exactly what we should be, and we are going to do that in the next few quarters. We're very confident about it.
Okay, and then looking a little bit further ahead, as misinformation and coordinated influence operations continue to evolve, what gives you the confidence that Cyabra can remain ahead of these threats and continue delivering value to customers?
It started with a very strong founding team, and I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about my two co-founders, which led information warfare for the Special Operations Command. It became 8 years of building, researching, and developing the operating system that we sell to dozens of different organizations around the world. And then now it's continued with multiple offices around the world, delivering the solution over different geographies, different organizations and industries eventually, with a very, very strong leadership from a board perspective as well, with Josette Sheeran, with Mike Pompeo, with Jim Flanagan, and so on and so forth. So we have the people in place, we have the structure in place, and the demand is only going up. I think that we have all the ingredients to make a great salad. That's it.
Yeah, it sure seems like that. I don't think you're going to have any problem with demand. That's at least my take here. Look, thanks for joining us today, Dan. This is really interesting to me, and I look forward to future follow-ups.
Likewise. Thank you for the time, Ryan.
You're very welcome. Folks, that was Dan Brahmi, CEO of Cyabra, ticker CYAB on the NASDAQ. Thanks for joining us for another All Access. We'll see you next time. All right, we are back 13. Let me go ahead and share my screen. I hope that you enjoyed that. We are back to a sell-off. So SpaceX selling off, broader market is selling off. We kind of reversed their no buy indicators on the signal. The one thing that still seems to be working that I found out there, QURE. Look at this on the VWAP recapture and the move higher.
Yeah, still working on trying to go higher. I was looking at CYAB, the company you were just interviewing. Not sure how they're going to lead from 55 cents, but and they're going to have to raise some cash at some point. I don't know that now's the time for a CYAB. I think there's some structural financial things that need to happen first.
Okay. Interesting space, nonetheless. Let's see.
I think it's interesting because we are coming into an election where we're going to see a lot of information, the misinformation.
Yep. Bingo. You're running down the exact same track I was. Kathy saying QURE is doing well. Indeed, it is. I actually did a scalp on this too, although I'm already out. Might have been a tad too early on that. I'm seeing ICCM being mentioned here by several of the traders today. This had a nice little VWAP cross. Actually looks like it back tested the 9 EMA while obliterating the VWAP and then going higher. So I think 8 is going to be your next upside level here on ICCM. Zach saying SpaceX starting to burn the retail. Not this retail. We had been, a lot of folks in our group here are kind of waiting this out, or had already traded it to the upside and working off gains.
Well, this is still tradable. I mean, you got the short ETFs. Trade away. Right. Don't just because SpaceX goes down doesn't mean that there's not a trade there.
Look at SNK 13.
Exactly, and I think that we could continue to come in towards the 193 area where there's going to be a gap fill. Didn't quite get down to that gap fill yesterday, but Monday's candle we closed at 192.50. I think that's a spot to watch for here today.
And LOFF, this is our direction SpaceX bull ETF that we just talked about Ed with here. This actually looks like it's trying to hold on to yesterday's lows there. JJ said, I missed my entry on ICCM by 5 cents. That just happened to me yesterday on the SPY calls. It is what it is. You gotta be able to just kind of move past that, JJ. The only thing I could offer you there is don't chase. Does look like 750 is holding here on the SPY, or at least attempting to. I know it's early in the trading session, so we'll see if that ends up holding. SPY bouncing here, though. That actually was a fairly decent candle. I don't see any news tied to that. Trump says stock surge, oil falls. Trump expects market gains to continue. Okay, buy stocks. Market's trading up on that. S&P futures trying to make their way back to the VWAP here. is doing a decent job holding that 750 low on the SPY. Futures still trying to trade up, cannot recapture the VWAP as of yet.
EHGO, that had it. Well, that's really selling off right now. That had a nice move through VWAP. It took it up to 625. It looked like it was going to go to 650. Couldn't hold above VWAP. Now we're coming down to some pre-market levels here for some.
And 13, this is also the starting a formation of a kind of a negative downtrend line here. I'm just going to go through the two peaks. This I think you need to take out if this is going to change.
Yeah.
And then Captain Cloudy, here's another thing. Captain Cloudy says it's going to chop till the FOMC. One of the reasons why I'm not thrilled about trading some of these zero DTE contracts here today is because of exactly that. The chop is just going to eat that alive, and none of it's going to matter once we end up getting that press conference.
Look at SpaceX. We're getting close to that spot, that 192.50. We're hitting it now. Let's see if we get support. If we get support,
what do we think, guys?
192.50, we get a trade on the 2x longs if we get support here.
Okay. Good call. So look for LOFF and SPAL are your 2x longs if in fact this area holds. 13, great call out there. Thank you for interrupting me.
No problem.
Anne-Marie, good morning. It's great to see you. We need the market to leak a bit, and it's going to be very noisy the later we get into the day and approaching the FOMC. I totally agree with you there. Totally agree with you there. And frankly, if the market leaked, that wouldn't be terrible either. If it gets pounded, that might be a different story, but leaking, not the end of the world. Now, Lion mentioning that Micron's going to report next week. Lion, I know you're a Micron bull, but do you think this is going to be a big beat and a move higher in the stock on the back of that?
Kathy, I don't know that they're getting into the Russell 1000. They might be, but I don't think that they're getting into the Russell. They're getting into the NASDAQ 100 and I believe the 300. Let's double check. Yeah,
it is the NASDAQ. You're right on that.
Okay.
She might be right about the IWM. I didn't see that. I don't think so. That doesn't. I mean, it's not a small cap, so to me that seems odd. But
right. And so far, it looks like there was a nice little trade there with the SpaceX long ETFs. We got a little bit of a bounce, got more than $1 bounce off the low. I don't expect this is going to completely recover and find its way over 200. It might, but I was just looking at this as a quick in and out.
Not bad, and that was a good look there at the SpaceX underlying too.
It was a good spot. I mean, we let's see, what's the low? 192.58. We came within 8 cents of that price we were looking at. So we certainly hit the wick. The wick was at 193. We got in there. So we got that gap fill, but if we want to hit the real body, we were 8 cents away.
Yeah. Looking around here, that market is continuing to bounce. Now we're trading up to the VWAP on SPY. We'll see if we can take that out.
All right, let's look at some of these movers. Looks like EHGO is still going down. 65 EMA might be the support there. QRE, still a slow mover, but still climbing. There's another, what was the other one? CLWT. That's kind of riding the 65 EMA. I've been doing that most of the morning. There's a seller in the way at 226. So watch for volume expansion and to take out that seller at 226. And then we have Paladine. That's not doing a whole lot.
I'm still watching this SpaceX bounce, and we are getting the SPY now through the VWAP. My indicator did flash 3 buy signals. I'm not in any of them. We're waiting for the FOMC here.
Yeah, and I don't know how great these bounces or these reversals in SpaceX are going to perform, but that's it. I mean, it looked like it was a good spot, so just a quick trade. Now it's kind of given up all that.
Yep. That was just and then Captain Cloudy here, Ryan, whenever I see a good buy setup, I sell. And when I see a huge red candle, I buy for a scalp. That's how I trade the chop. Not a bad way to trade the chop. I'd rather trade the trend than the chop, but I don't get to pick what we get, Captain Cloudy. That's not bad. Trading whatever's in front of you, which is what we preach here.
I like it because he's looking for those potential signals of strength. So if there's a buy signal that's going to get everybody excited to pick up these shares, he's like, well, you can have mine. And he's just going to, kind of do this to everybody that wants to buy the shares. He's losing that liquidity to get out of his position. I like it.
Yeah, and Nikhil here saying, wouldn't that be too late for entry once they make their announcement? So here's the deal with that. So if I'm trying to play one side of it prior to the announcement, what we're looking at there, then we're basically trying to forecast whatever happens. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is a new Fed chair. He might come out guns blazing saying your dot plot, you can shove it up your rear end. We're not doing it anymore. There's a number of things that could happen from all of this, and I don't know what they are. So I'm not going to try and forecast and play it. What I would rather do is I would rather have the market do its little shake and bake thing and then try and figure out a trend. Trend is down, trend is up, whatever it is. If I can trade a trend, I feel like I'm going to be more successful than just trading some of the back and forth reactionary moves or predicting something that I have no idea what's going to happen. Let me know if that makes sense, Nikhil.
Jay, it looks like it did go green. I'm just looking through some of the top holdings to figure out which, one is kind of lifting it back up here. It looks like this might continue to go higher just based on the way it's trading right now, but I'd still be cautious. I think I'd still be cautious. Because what changed? All right, let's see here. Let's look at these movers. QURE still climbing. Big question mark when we get to 50. The HGO trying to get some support. That's crazy that in my broker, we actually hit a low of 192.50, the exact print we were looking for. Little different from TradeView, but my broker says we hit it.
Okay. Did you look at Bird this morning? Looked at my Bird this morning because he was awfully adorable, but I did not look at the stock itself. Here's Allbirds. Oh my goodness.
Okay, so looks like
review up there.
Looks like somewhere in the high like the 480s, maybe 490s. Give me some resistance, but nice kind of a double bottom formation that we're getting here with Allbird. Are you trading this? Are you flipping it at all? Get what I'm saying? You flipping this bird? Anyway,
I do get what you're saying.
Yeah. So we had a golden cross here at the end of May. That hasn't broken down. So, but if the price remains under the 200-day SMA for a whole lot longer, we might start to get that death cross. But I think we need to see this this move over 5. We're going to get some resistance in the 480s, 490s, but if we can get over 5, I think we'll trade a lot better.
So this is a good question here from Cam. 13, how long you think we'll have to wait before SpaceX becomes a buy and hold? This is what I'm waiting for too. I don't have necessarily a time frame, but I'd be curious if anyone else does, including you, 13.
I don't have a time frame, but I think that acquisition of, well, we talked about this yesterday, that acquisition of Anysphere to pick up the parent company of that AI coding cursor, program. That could be a real problem for the earnings estimates that are upcoming in August. Basically, they have to, every analyst has to throw out their forecast out the window because that's something new now that they have to account for. I would think that it's going to be either sometime after Q2 because we still have that dilution event, or it might be a little bit later on in the year once a lot of the the restricted shares are unlocked. The lockup ends.
Yeah. So that to me is one of the big thing. I kind of want to see a lot. Maybe I don't need to wait for all of it because I think some of those executives have like a 366-day lockup period or something like that. Perhaps we don't need to wait out all of that, but I do want to see I do want to see more of that lockup happen and see what the stock actually does. Potg here saying, I would think within a year, I would tend to have that be my calendar for that as well.
Yeah, it's going to probably be some time. I'm not confident in saying that this is a good spot to buy it at. It'll probably be this price when the valuation makes a little bit more sense. But I think that's going to come back in, and I want to own this, but I don't want to own it at this price right now.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Well, we'll see when it does actually come back in.
And Zach, I mean, we joke about rockets exploding, and we're going to see more rockets explode. That's going to be planned, but we do have a launch coming up. I think next month, and it should be next month. And after that, we're going to have a launch every month, at least. At least that's what the president of the company was saying.
Frozen. In a year, SpaceX might be 100 or it might be 400. I kind of don't think that's out of the question. Like I could actually see both of those scenarios, especially if the market doesn't pull back and really overheats and goes gangbusters. I would imagine a really popular stock like it's going to move with that. But that's what makes the market, Frozen. That's what makes the market. I'm going to try and be as patient as possible.
Kathy, that was part of the plan.
What?
That's part of the plan. She said, I think the inclusion in the indexes will protect SpaceX from dropping after staggering lockups expire.
Yeah, that was definitely part of the plan. That was, yeah, for sure.
We're going to get about up to 20% unlocked after the first, I'm sorry, it's going to be the first earnings, but it's actually for the second quarter. And then there's also a performance issue as well, where if the stock is trading over 175.50 for 5 out of the 10 trading days during the reporting period, another 10% of those shares unlock. Then you have a staggered type of unlock going into Q3 earnings. So it's going to be unlocked over time, and I think I may be compelled to try and pick some up, but if it doesn't look like it's going to come in too much further, but for now, I'm not going long on this. I think it's going to come back in some more. 10% unlocked on Tuesday if the price keeps holding. Where are you reading that, Derek? Because I have not seen that. 10% unlocked is based on performance, and it has to be after the Q2 earnings. So if it holds 175.50 for 5 of the 10 trading days around those Q2 earnings, then that 10% unlocks. I have not seen anything about anything unlocking on Tuesday.
We are seeing a bounce in some of those smaller cap stocks. So Velo did bounce back. That's actually up 7.5%. Ondas bounced back and went green. That's up by 1%. So the chop that we talked about, we're seeing it.
Yep.
S&P futures are above the VWAP, doing their absolute best to hold on to
that. Goldman Sachs, JPM, very strong. Let's see here. Several different thoughts coming across my mind. Maybe they're strong because we have all these IPOs and they're bringing them to market, and that's great for them. Which company got like $100 million paycheck from bringing SpaceX to market? Was it Goldman Sachs?
I think so. I think it was.
So I mean, yeah, those companies are going to do well with these IPOs, and this is not the only IPO this year. So I've been the Robert coming up, potentially Anduril and OpenAI. Yes, Derek, it's going to be during the Q2 earnings period, and it has to be above that 175.50 performance threshold for 5 out of the 10 days during that earnings period. So when we get to Q2, which is supposed to be in August or late July, we haven't got an official date yet, but a lot of analysts are calling for August 11th as being the day. When we do get that up to 20% of the shares will be unlocked just for the Q2 earnings. Based on the performance, if we are trading above 175.50 for 5 out of those 10 days during that Q2 earnings period, another 10% will unlock. You thought it was Morgan? It might have been. It could have been. I don't remember exactly who got that massive payday, but this is what this is what you're gonna see with these massive IPOs. These companies bringing them to market are gonna get a nice chunk of change.
QURE, this is stopping. Didn't quite get to 50.13. We'll see if it still does that. Nonetheless, this was actually a pretty good trade. It did turn around here. Took a couple of attempts to turn around, but it did end up turning around in the fair value gap area. ICCM, might as well call this ICBM, as this is rocketing into lower upper atmosphere.
That was a good one.
This thing just a complete blast off on this. And whoever, I can't remember who it was, but someone called out that you were buying the Ondas pullback right around 9. It was just short, briefly under the 200-day. That ended up working today. Really good stuff on that. Really good stuff on that.
ICCM, should this continue to climb? I see resistance. Actually, we're going into a little bit of a gap fill pretty soon. That will be, we kind of tried to fill that gap back in May, couldn't do it. That gap starts at looks like 966, 960, 963, and it fills at 1050. So if you're looking at a daily chart, you can see how the price is coming up to this area, this $10 area between the basic 10 and 1150. That could be about where the high is today. I think we're going to run into that resistance that we ran into back in April and May. So if we continue to climb higher above this 65-day EMA, that's where I think the next resistance is going to be, in between that 1050 and 1150 area.
Okay. All right. G-Man saying SpaceX does not look strong today. No, it doesn't, but it's early. It's early. It is trying to bounce here. Let me put SpaceX on screen. So it's trying. We'll see. No rush on SpaceX. I really want that to come in. We'll see, though.
Everyone's silent on Applied Materials. It's been a great trading vehicle for the past month. And shoot, it's a great trading vehicle today. Started under 600, now messing around with 620. Let's see here. Let's look at this chart. It tells no lies. This thing is... This thing has been going almost straight up since the liberation.
Which one are you looking at? Sorry,
AMAT.
AMAT. AMAT. Sorry.
Yep. Just continue. I mean, this is going to be one that we're going to see a big move back down, if not just a mean reversion. Let's see here. We are almost 20. A little more than 24, almost 25% away from the 20-day SMA. This is going to come back in. It's very extended. It's just going to have a little bit of a corrective move down, and then it'll probably continue to do better.
Joe, Ryan, is Ondas done with all of its offerings and share resales for the time being, as far as you know? I've never really known, Joe, honestly. I mean, I hope so, but judging on what we've seen, I would say probably not. Just my guess. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to bring Eric back on here. I'll see if I can arrange that.
Tell us, Jay, why is SpaceX red?
Why did it go red? I think is what he was saying, right? Yeah. Why did it end up going red?
Why did it go red? Kind of looks like everything is going red. Even the ICBM, after hitting 954. Start to turn around. Looks like EHGO is getting support from the 65 EMA. Be careful with that. It has got no news.
Okay. Kramer was pumping it in the pre-market.
I saw that. I saw that he was calling it the Elon Musk. You may as well just call it the Elon Musk stock.
He did say that. He was like, it's because of Elon.
Okay. So what do we call Tesla? Does Tesla now? I thought that was.
I mean, I think we still call that the Elon trade, right? Like we talk about that all the time.
Yeah. Close to my lunch hour.
SPY at the highs, by the way. SPY is taking out the pre-market. Oh, is that actually above the pre-market high? Yep. SPY is going here.
So that let's see, what was the actual low print we got here? 749.61. That's pretty dang close to the 749.53 previous all-time high that was established on May 14th. It's almost like those previous all-time highs are worth keeping an eye on. Now we have resistance that we're coming up to 752.13, which was an all-time high from May 26th.
Yep, and there it is, literally right there. Just printed it right now and stopped there.
That's the current resistance we got to get back through.
That is awesome. Literally 1 penny off on that. That is absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. G-Man saying, holy cow, SPY to hit 252.52. So that's your next resistance area. Stopped right at 13s there. And then Jay mentioning the Airbnb as a World Cup trade. How about Messi's hat trick last night? Anyone's shocked on that?
G-Man, how do you like 752.82? Because that was the high from June 5th. I think that we're all kind of looking at the very similar areas. If we do get that move through that 752.13, there is that high there that I think we'd want to keep an eye on. So I'm right there with you. Netflix is down. Is it at 70 yet? Let's see. Nope. But it's not too far away. So it looks like we're going to go underneath the February lows to me.
For anyone that cares, Trump says that the Anthropic negotiations are going fine.
I have the biggest paintbrush to paint the broadest of strokes.
I was just going to, I know, I like laughed as I was kind of saying it, and I was like, this really isn't actionable, Ryan. You probably shouldn't even do that. NVO also looks like this had some news from yesterday regarding one of their drug trials. Let me just take a quick look at that. Go ahead.
Jay Rice, I thought he did bring up Airbnb. I personally don't like the company. That might be what the dissing was. I don't know if anybody else in chat was, but I just personally don't like the company. I don't like their business model. The company's, let's just look at the company. Let's just look at it.
I don't dislike the trade idea either. I'm kind of with you on Airbnb. I've kind of soured on it. I didn't take it, but I did not. I don't remember smack talking it.
I don't know if I don't remember the smack talk. I know that I said that I didn't like the company, but the trade idea makes sense. There is a massive trend line that it's coming up to snap. So there could be some upside in this, but if we do get that break over the trend line, I think 160 is going to be a big resistance area. And you just have to look at a daily chart to see all this. It's as clear as the daily chart. Take care, Line. Take care of that migraine.
Oh, you've got a migraine? Damn. Yeah. Drink water, lay down, and enjoy. Don't we have England today? Got something for you.
But yeah, so that's what I see with the Airbnb. It looks like the theory is solid. I just personally don't like the company. And that's where I think that if we do get this break, that's where it is good to run to, is the 160 area. Airbnb, one of the reasons there's a housing shortage, I would not deny that whatsoever. Well, Jay, all I was saying is that I think that could be the reason why there was maybe some dissing. I said I didn't like it. But yeah, I agree. You don't have to like it to not trade it. I've certainly done that with some names that I don't have any intention of owning. And I don't like the companies, but they were moving. So I get you.
All right, we've got less than a minute till we go to the story trading folks. We'll check in with them. I'm not gonna forecast how they're doing because I was wrong last week, and I just don't want to do that again. But don't forget, folks. Don't forget, we've got a new show starting right after story trading. It is The Drift with Tom Sosnoff, creator of Thinkorswim, and Adam Mesh of T3 fame. That is going to be premiering right after the story trading guys end up crushing it here today. Be sure to check that out. Like and subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Get in there, 13.
RXT is trying to test the highs here. Could push through.
Okay, my platform's lagging. We got any closing words for the group?
I'm going to go try and get better. I hope everybody else has a wonderful rest of your day. Take care of yourself. Don't get sick. I'm gonna nurse this cold. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. I'll see you tomorrow.
13, fighting through it like an absolute warrior. We appreciate it. Have a good one, man. Rest up.
See ya.
All right, that is 13's departure. Let's go ahead and bring on Ben. Let's see. Oh, what is going on with the lag here? Let's bring on Ben. Ben, how you doing?
Up. Good. How are you doing, Ryan?
I'm doing all. What's that? Sorry.
They're doing better this week. A little better.
Okay, good. I'm doing good. Look, where's your crew?
I don't know. They're not here yet.
Ain't nobody here but you, bro.
Really? Well.
And you don't have a screen share up either.
Here's my screen share. Let me ping Rhett here. Showtime. Okay. So I can always talk to myself till I get here, Ryan.
I can hang out with you for a minute if you
want.
All
right, let's hang out. Let's talk about the Qs and SpaceX for a second. So
I would love to hear your view on SpaceX, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, we got the FOMC, Kevin Warsh today, and I have a green signal. Usually I go like a yellow alert or something on FOMC day. I kept it green because I think Trump did that deal with Iran to give Kevin Warsh cover today to be like, this is the new Fed. We're not like data dependent on the past. We're forward looking. The war just ended. Oil's crashing down, and maybe we don't have to raise interest rates. Maybe we can even drop them. I think that was the play. I think that's why Trump rushed this deal with Iran this week to get it in before today's press conference with Kevin Warsh. So based on that thesis, I'm long, green signal, and I'm looking for.
Did we just lose him?
If I hear you, that means we lost him. Oh, he's back.
Yeah. Oh,
it was just a hiccup. He's back. He's here.
Oh, I was here the whole time. Weird. Okay.
Yeah, we just had an internet hiccup. Okay, let me bring on Dougie Fresh and get out of your hair. Okay. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
All right.
See you in a bit.
Good.
Appreciate
All right.
it.
So, maybe everyone. I don't know if you heard my FOMC thesis. Green signal. I think Kevin Warsh is going to be dovish, and we're going to break above 749. That's my prediction. Of course, only another day this week. We don't have Thursday and Friday, so maybe it takes until early next week to get above 749. I don't know. If we have time, I'll talk a little bit more about the Iran thing. I think there's some risk longer term, but for right now, that seems to be the way things are going. With SpaceX, I think I'm seeing, hopefully, the first signs of money rotating back into space stocks, which gotten absolutely destroyed. Earlier this week, I said I'll be looking for that, right? I'll be looking for the regular space stocks, ex-SpaceX, to start going up as an early signal that the SpaceX trade itself may be over and SpaceX may be topped out, right? And then this morning, when we have had a positive catalyst with ASTS, the launch of 3 more satellites with Falcon 9, I posited that, maybe this is going to be what brings some attention back to that space stocks and can trigger this rotation back into those other names. Because this morning, ASTS was up like 5% in pre-market, outperforming the rest of the space names. And maybe this is happening a little bit. Of course, ASTS itself is underperforming, but you are seeing money coming back into, I hope, Redwire and Rocket Lab and Lunar and Planet Labs. You see all this happening at the same time that SpaceX is going down. So hopefully we'll see a rotation back to some of those names. That's hurting the Sats trade right now. This is a little bit of an unusual move. We want to see Sats go down. That's fine, but it should go down less than SpaceX until that gap is filled, the arbitrage gap. And but we'll see. Right now, I'm not really in it for the arbitrage play. I've decided it's going to be a little too complicated, take a little too long, and there's too much risk with SpaceX, unless you're shorting SpaceX. Like, yeah, you're doing a normal arbit, then great. You short SpaceX, you're long sats, that works. For now, my long sats position, I've been selling on pops, trying to reduce my position size here the last few days. But my remaining position is for the imminent AT&T deal where they get 20 billion cash coming in. I believe that'll be announced imminently very soon. Could be today, it could be tomorrow, it could be next week, but it's happening imminently. And that's going to be my final exit for Sats, most likely, unless I decide to actually do the arb trade and short SpaceX long term. We just lost Dougie.
Oh.
So that was a mouthful on FOMC, QQQ, Kevin Warsh, and what's going on with SpaceX and the rotations. Rhett, I'll pause there for a second and get your thoughts on all that.
Yeah, definitely. I'm being a little more cautious today, just due to the fact it's FOMC, so we are going to see a little bit of choppiness, like we're seeing in the markets right now. We're just trading within this range on the Qs. It looked like we were wanting to break out, then pulled back there. We had some bullish commentary from Trump this morning, and also we have him coming on. I believe it's at 10:45, so be on the lookout. He will probably try to pump the markets there as well. So we'll see what he has to say. But if you look at certain sectors like RTX with the defense and all that stuff, they popped up, but now they're pulling back.
Defense Production Act. Yeah, there's just so much going on. I forgot to take a trade on that. Those defense companies on the Defense Production Act. Look at NBIS. Put this out Friday when the stock was 245 or so, or 240, and I gave a swing target of 250 to 280. And shame on me, I didn't play it. I mean, I own it. I own a big position in my retirement account, but I didn't play it in the short-term account. Why not? And I was in my morning note every single day. I said, looking good, 280 plus target, looking good. And then yesterday I even said, I think we're going to break past 280 towards 285 plus after FOMC today. I mean, just a stellar prediction, but I didn't play it. Someone's got to get my head examined. So there you go. Folks who are subscribed to our morning note got that, and that's working. Look at Webull popping here. I guess, is it up in with sympathy with Robinhood? Yeah, maybe.
Are dipping down now.
Robinhood. Oh, Robinhood making it to the swing target. That's another one I didn't play with the swing target at the 200 DMA. Wow. And Bull is maybe up in sympathy with Robinhood, but Bull did release their May metrics this morning. And maybe it's reacting to that. I don't think it was too spectacular, their May metrics, but it wasn't terrible. Maybe that combined with Hood is lifting it up towards a swing target I gave you guys, but I bailed on it. I didn't play it because of the May metrics I didn't think were too great. Dougie, you were saying something about the Qs?
Yeah, they were dumping off. If anyone wants to check them out, they look like they're going to be dipping here. And it makes sense because going into this afternoon, I think, like you were saying, they'll try to pump the market.
You could hit that 20 DMA somehow. Also you have a lot of volatility around 2 p.m. So you could have both things happen. You can have this dump to the 20 DMA around 2 p.m. and maybe even continue dumping, but then I expect the pressure to be really positive. So, between 2:30 and 3, and then after 3 p.m., essentially, really, hopefully it changes directions, finds the direction, and it's going to be bullish for the rest of the day into tomorrow. That's my base case right now, but we have to react to what Kevin Warsh actually says. But that is my crystal ball prediction for you on that right now.
Well, I'd have to say I'm pretty much on the same page. Said that this morning, so I would say we're on the same page. We have been lately, Ben. It's kind of scary how on the same page we've been. Not that everything's happened exactly, because the Qs didn't pull back to that 50, but they were close to it.
I know.
Probably the only thing we were off on, to be honest.
And we're off by a few hours. But even that morning here, the morning of June 10th, I was on yellow alert for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days. Called the top. And then on June 10th, I said, well, we're about to go green signal. This is going to be our last day of yellow. And I said, either we're going to go to green because we bounced off the 50 today, or we're going to go to green because we're going to have a successful SpaceX IPO the next day. That was my thesis. And greedy me, instead of like laying off and maybe switching along, I'm like, I wanted to capture the last move of this NASDAQ here from 690 to like 680. And I was like heavily short. And it didn't happen. That's like just bad. That's execution that didn't match analysis over there. That was sad. Anyway, we digress. But we gave you perfect analysis. And even that day, like almost every day during this downturn, we were calling. We had a top pick of like TZA, shorting the IWM or even SQQQ. We're shorting, and then on June 10th, I'm like, nope, I have no short ideas for you because we're about to switch green, and my count was like 100% short because I wanted to capture the last move to 680. Oh my gosh, that's just so terrible. It's like just like phenomenal analysis and just like terrible execution at the same time. Like that's, do you know anyone else like that good and that bad at the same time, guys?
Yeah,
that was
here.
that was me last week. There you go.
I do that often too, Ben. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna lie.
gosh, it's just crazy. I like just doing things that I'm not even telling other people to do. All right. Anyway, it's a tough game. Emotions plays with you, and
Yeah.
you know,
We look at a lot, so
start doing things I don't even tell people about because I know it's not going to work. But I'm like, man, maybe let me just.
you think, yeah,
maybe
you have
I
a
could
high
do it. Let me.
conviction in your head.
Yeah, I'm like, let me just do something off the books. I'm not gonna tell anyone about it. Like that happens too. But anyway,
they're always the worst plays.
yeah, I know exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know why you're not holding yourself
you're taking
accountable?
drugs, right? You're like, you're doing something bad. Like
Yup.
you go hide in the closet and take some drugs, and it never works. All right.
You know it's going to be a nightmare, but you do it anyway.
EOSC pullback here. I mean, this paid nice this morning, and I got greedy here, man. We had a 750 to 8 target, and I bought it early, bought it at 7, took profits, but then I re-entered right here. You see this candle right here. I thought it was going to go at 10 a.m. So I've given back a bunch of my gains. I should still be green on it because I re-entered half size, not full size.
Well, if anyone entered them Q puts, they're up a lot too right now. So you're doing pretty well.
Oh wow,
right
the
here.
Q puts are at the start of the show.
Yeah, I think so. They're dipping pretty good right there when I said it. So yeah, they're moving. I think they could pull back a little bit more here.
I am like shorting SpaceX a little bit here or there because I have sats, so it's like kind of a safe short. But man, the sats is really getting disproportionately hit today.
Yeah, it's got it looked good in the first few minutes, and then it
it don't look good now. I need that AT&T catalyst to turn things around at this point. Anyway, all right, that's that. What else we got? So, oof. What am I gonna do with the red wire? I don't know.
I know it was nice on that trade, so we'll see what happens.
I took the common shares. I made nice on the common shares, but then I swapped into calls, like probably near the high of the day. I'm like, let me take the profit on the options.
Really?
I bought next week's calls though, 1450 next week. Not a terrible contract. But we'll see if I have the wherewithal to hold this. And Rocket Lab, same man. I took some profits early in Rocket Lab, but then I got back in, and now I'm down on Rocket Lab. Because I thought this, and maybe it's still well. I was thinking this rotation out of SpaceX into the other space stocks would accelerate throughout the day, but maybe it was just a blip. Well, that's the jury's out on that.
I mean, SpaceX for the moment on the chart looks like it could pop up a little bit, but I don't know if it really wants to go anywhere today. To be honest with you, it looks like it kind of would pull back a little more. So maybe the rotation is trying to happen there.
Oh, okay, fine. If you're saying that it's going to pop up, here, let me cover I've been shorting this all day, just small size. Shorted at 196.60 last, and just covered now.
Yeah, we had some nice put plays on that this morning.
I know. Good for you. I was just doing the common shares. Look at this MBIS. Damn, I'm going to lose some of my MBIS shares in my long-term account to covered calls I sold. I hardly ever sell covered calls. I always regret it when I do. Always. That's why I hardly ever sell covered calls anymore. But I have a pretty big NBIS position, and I bought a lot. This I did do, right? I called this with that 250 to 280, but I bought it in size in my retirement account for that play, but I just didn't do it on my trade account for some stupid reason. I've just been so obsessed with this space trade that I forgot to do other stuff, I guess.
Now that SpaceX is over and all that, now we can get back to a normal market. I think we were. I think everybody.
When was the last time we had a normal market? Like,
well, I mean, just not staring at one.
It's been a while. Pre-COVID.
I know.
Pre-COVID.
That's when everything screwed up. It was COVID really messed everything up. and we have not returned to normally. I hope this is not bad news. This is a little unusual.
Sats is pulling back big. You see
I
that?
hope that, yeah, this is a little bit concerning. I hope there's not.
Forsman saying he
What?
bought puts on Microsoft. Actually, I was looking at that a little bit ago and this morning. Microsoft does look like it can make it. Where's the chart? It's like 384-ish is what I had. Right around 384.15. You'll probably see a bounce area there for Microsoft.
Oh, this might ruin my day because I did sell a pop this morning on the 115 calls expiring this week, and but I kept the 115s next week. I'm contemplating buying the dip here, but it's a little bit concerning that we're down more than SpaceX. I really would like to not see that happen on an arb trade like this.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, it has a good support right there. It's kind of
But,
going through it.
you know, I'm thinking about it because I did a good job selling the. Let me see how much these cost. Next
Hood's
week's
really going now.
115s. I can't believe I missed Hood. Called that. Didn't
Yeah,
play
you
it.
were in it. What, yesterday was it, or 2 days
I
ago?
don't know.
Yeah, I was in it yesterday and I took a fat loss on it.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh man, just had to hold out for one more day.
If sometimes we were just a little more patient, I think we would do
I
a
know.
lot better.
I
We're
know.
like a
Oh,
day
look
or
at-
two early to the party sometimes.
Shit! Look at this. See, it's easy to be patient on the long-term accounts. I've done that. I didn't
Yeah.
do Hood
Yeah,
there though, but
definitely.
yeah,
Short term,
NBIS.
it's
I
not.
tend to swing really well in my retirement account. But the
Because you're
volatility.
patient.
Yeah, because I don't care. Like, you know,
Yeah.
I'm not like trying to make money every day. My short-term account, I'm trying to make money every day, and the volatility in the market has made it really hard this year.
Yeah.
Short-term account for me. SpaceX still going down.
All right, guys, we have 15 minutes
Yeah.
left, and don't forget there's a new show after this for you guys. So stay
New
tuned.
show.
And,
What is it?
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. I have
We'll
no
have to
idea
see. I
either.
thought you had a
buddy.
preview.
Think of Thinkorswim. I think someone from Thinkorswim is going to be there.
Cool.
I don't know. There was a preview earlier. Brian
Oh.
went through it at the top of the show. Damn. I'm looking at this. You know what? Like, I should have kept the SpaceX short. See, if I had the SpaceX short, I could more confidently buy the Sats dip here. Maybe it's not too late. Should I go short SpaceX again and buy the Sats dip? Maybe, I
let's
don't know.
see. I mean, SpaceX, honestly, SpaceX don't look that great.
Look at NBIS. Can't believe it.
I thought it was just going to pop up right there for a few moments, to be honest with you, but it just looked it got worse looking as we were talking. And Sats, I mean, that don't look that great either.
I know. All right, so I got a short.
I don't think they both. I don't think either of them look really good, to be honest.
All right, I got a short SpaceX again. I need to protect the Sats. Should have done it earlier.
Let's see.
All right, shorting SpaceX again. But what a crazy call at NBAS I had, and what a missed stop that I didn't do it in my short-term trading account. All right, all out of Carmel. SHMD had some really good news yesterday, but it reacted really poorly, and now it's going up. OSS had some good news yesterday, reacted okay, going up on a second day in a row. Wow, is everything dumping right at this moment?
Redwire.
Yeah,
and,
it is.
Like, what something just happened?
whoa, the Qs just went way
That's a new-
down.
that looks
Well,
like a
that
news
put
candle.
just paid out a huge amount of money, guys. Holy,
That looks like a news candle. There's a
I
news
would
candle.
say
What
so.
happened? Trump, what happened, guys?
I don't know. Something
Iran,
happened.
Israel, bombing.
Rocket Lab, they all just dipped.
Yeah, and I'm long right now on a bunch of things.
And the Qs went down
and
on that.
here-
Holy macro. I hope you close that out, everybody. On that candle alone, that was well over 100%
check
for
the
everybody.
let me
200% or another one for you guys. 2 weeks in a row, huh?
Hey, well, whoever was in Microsoft, there you go. Merry Christmas to you. You're gonna hit that 384.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. Let me cover this little SpaceX short here. Get another few dollars.
Wow.
Where is it? Where's my SpaceX short? Buy to cover.
I'm actually adding calls for RDW. I'm liking this bounce here.
Yeah. Well, this hopefully, according to my thesis, the more SpaceX goes down, the more money goes into the space stocks. Hopefully,
Yeah,
RDW, Rocket Lab.
Rocket Lab and the rest. I
ASTS,
mean, Rocket
so-
Lab still looks good on that dip right there, so might be a good idea, like you're saying, right off of that big
By the way,
candle.
I don't see news yet. Geopolitical news. Does anyone
mean-
see?
Check
Trump
them
warns
on.
Iran deal failure could restart conflict. Okay, that
They're just at a peace deal signing Friday.
Holy moly. It's never ending.
I know.
yeah.
Never ending.
Well, maybe I'll bring.
Yeah, guys, sorry for jumping in here. I watched that candle too. I was looking for news for you and I was going to give it to you. I haven't found anything yet. I was looking at the squawk. I'm looking at X. I don't have anything I can directly associate with that move down, but I'll let you know if I find anything.
Yeah, I
Appreciate it.
have.
Thanks, Ryan. Same here.
Yeah, I have a. Thank you, Ryan.
Man, Ryan.
I have a tweet from someone saying Trump warns Iran deal failure could restart conflict, but I don't know when he said that. It
Or
might be
where
old
it's
news.
at.
Someone's
And
regurgitating.
water is wet, bro. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I don't think that's it.
I know. I hear you. I hear you. Okay.
So true though. It's just like, I mean, it's just another day in this market. Like
Yeah.
1 minute we have a peace deal, and the next minute, it's all off the tables, and the market goes sideways and down. I mean, how do you play this thing minute
It's
to
very
minute?
hard.
You almost-
It's been very hard trading, man.
it's rough.
The retirement account been great. The swing calls have been great. I've had a challenge trading just because the volatility has been so extreme.
Oil's moving up though.
Oh, that's something to watch on that dip. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that dip on
yeah,
Rocket
yeah.
Lab
It
is
wasn't news
good.
related, guys.
Yeah, but where's this
Something
news?
happened. Something happened, guys. Maybe
It had to.
yeah, something happened.
You don't see candles like that.
No, when you see the confirmation from USO and TLT, you know it's news related. I don't see it yet.
Wow.
I don't see anything.
That was a crazy Q put call.
Maybe something happened on the ground. I don't know. Maybe there was a bomb somewhere or a missile.
Iran and the U.S. may sign the war termination. Hold on, this agreement. No, that's not it.
Yeah, they just need to either end the thing or do something with this thing. It's just too volatile. It drives you nuts every day. Like, it's just too all
I've
over
been
the place.
being driven nuts since COVID. It's just nonstop volatility and like extreme world events. Just
Yeah.
nonstop extreme world events since COVID. It's just crazy.
It sure is.
Oh my god.
Now it's popping right back
All
up
right,
the
yeah.
Q. So it didn't last long.
I just watch the Ryan.
Lasted just long enough to cash those 200% on those puts, Dougie Fresh.
Oh, dude,
That's
they're
what it
beautiful.
lasted long enough for.
Oh, it was beautiful. I was like so excited when I see
Uh.
that wick down. I couldn't get out of them fast enough. That's what I was yelling for. Get out of them. You don't see that every day. Holy cow. That was a beauty.
Oh, well, I'm not happy with ASTS at the moment.
Yeah, no.
Wow, I can't believe
I
NBIS.
was holding here.
Yeah,
All right, so we got a few minutes. I want to
Wow,
give you.
Hood is just going nuclear.
Which
Did it
one?
get past the 200 DMA?
Look at this. Oh my gosh.
103.71. Oh, went past the 200 DMA. Look at that.
Which one?
Ah, that was a
Look at
miss.
Robinhood.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
another one. I
Hood.
called that, but didn't play it. Just been too obsessed with freaking space stocks. I missed a lot of things this week.
Yeah, Hood was like
Um,
on the list yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
a couple
well-
of- yeah. It's I forget which day, but I put a swing target
Right,
at 200
the
DMA.
past 2 days, I think.
Yeah, it went right
Yeah.
over to 200 right there.
Yeah.
Wow. It's impressive.
Yeah, I made some money on air this morning. Watching that for
These
re-entry
space
ups,
stocks
maybe.
still look good. Ben Redwire and Rocket
like to
Lab and
see.
stuff.
But not ASTS for some reason. ASTS don't look that good.
No.
And that's the one that had the most exciting catalyst of the morning in the space sector. I can't believe NBIS. I freaking sold some covered calls yesterday, and when I did it, I called out. I'm like, I know I'm going to lose on this, and it'll be called away. But I guess I'm like, I have enough. I have a lot of shares. That's why I did it. Anyway, whatever. We'll lose those tomorrow.
Wow. That thing is just up to the
I
right.
know,
And that
it's-
dip was beautiful this morning, huh?
No. Oh, look at that. Crazy. Missed up there.
Crazy volatility.
Wow.
Like, one minute you're like, oh, the market's gonna pop, and then the very next minute it's like straight back down. You're like, maybe it's not gonna pop. It's so funny. If you look at the minute candles, it'll drive you crazy on certain, especially the Qs and the indices and anything
Yeah,
like
that's
that. But
impossible.
almost anything.
I
face
can't. I can't do
stocks.
that. That's why I don't trade. That's why I don't trade those index options on the 1 minute. So let me show you this, guys. Okay, let's see how we're doing so far. No, SAT's not working. Bull's working. NBIS is working like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I
Watt
didn't
was
check.
looking great this morning, actually.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
see
I
it.
agree with Jay Rice.
What Jay Rice say?
Just a bunch of bots putting stuff out on with Iran and China.
Yeah. So anyway, maintained our green signal. Let's go through this real quick over here. See that green signal, QQQ. Looking for all-time highs there at 749 this week, possibly later today. Bull keeps going. Jeez. But I do want to say this. Here, like I said, our hunch is that President Trump rushed a peace deal through the last few days in order to arm Kevin Warsh with the cover needed to provide dovish commentary and guidance. All right. We expect Mr. Warsh will emphasize that the Fed is now forward-looking and that given the end of the war and recent drop in oil prices, interest rate hikes will not be necessary, and that instead of cuts may become appropriate later this year. Wow, that's a crystal ball call. Let's see if that turns out to be true. Right, you'll have to put that all over X if I get that right.
Sounds good.
And here we go, though. This is where I'm a little bit worried. Yesterday, I was really kind of pumped about this Iran deal. Not that I liked it. I don't like the Iran deal. But basically, I was like, this shows that Trump is willing to do whatever it takes to make sure the market's going to be up through the midterms, right? And I was like, that's it. You know, final story. That's not changing. And that's it, right? Now I'm starting to worry a little bit that Iran has too much leverage. And even if that's Trump's intention, that it's not all up to Trump. And Iran can foil those plans. So here's what I wrote here. As more details emerge of the MOU with, here, it's not completely in his control. Let's read this. All that being said, that's what I just said, right? Not completely in his control. Now, as more details emerge of the MOU with Iran, it is increasingly looking like President Trump completely capitulated and that Iran now holds all the cards. President Trump was motivated by lowering oil prices ahead of the election. I think everyone can agree on that. However, he is currently facing severe backlash from both the left and his own party. Whatever he may gain in the public eye by lowering oil prices, he may lose more by looking weak towards Iran. It's therefore possible that Trump does an about face on this deal, which he tweeted this morning, maybe a couple times, right? The calculation going forward isn't just about oil prices. He must now weigh that versus the impact of looking weak and having capitulated to Iran in a move which may hurt his legacy. Who knows? But it's possible, right? I don't know politics and polling and data and all that. They'll be looking at that, but people are going to make choices based on geopolitics and not just the oil price, or he may have to change his tune. But here's the worst part. Furthermore, and perhaps more alarming, the way the deal is structured places Iran in a position of power where they may derive tremendous benefits over the next 60 days, but then close the Strait of Hormuz again ahead of the election to deal Trump a fatal blow in the upcoming election. They have the power to do that. All right. They have every incentive in the world right now to shut up and take everything that's being offered to them. And then at the time of their choosing, in a strategic way, to impact the election here and ensure that the Republicans lose the midterms, which, Ron would like, then they go closing off the strait again. So I worry about this. Yesterday I was like super pumped about we're just going to fly into we're just going to fly into the midterms. And now I'm a little bit worried that Iran has too much power and leverage in this deal. Those are my thoughts there. So we'll see. I think you'll have to closely monitor TLT and oil prices for any possible sign that that's going to be happening over the next few months, or who knows, as early as if Trump changes his tune, things can change sooner. But the bigger risk could be what Iran does a couple months from now. So that's my thoughts on this.
And really quickly, gents, before we end here, I just saw that Trump is going to be delivering marks from the G7 conference shortly. So we're actually going to hear him talk. I would be shocked if they didn't ask him about some of this stuff. So look for some possible more news headlines coming in short order here on that.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Hard to trade. This is that. I don't know about you, Ryan, but this has been the first time in a long time my retirement swing account has actually beat my trade account so far this year in 2026. Usually I work my ass off here, 18 hours a day, to significantly outperform long-term holdings, but this year's just been challenging for me.
Yeah, we've actually been having that discussion across the morning show and our afternoon show. It's been tough. It's been tough to focus on a particular trend. I think that's one of the reasons you're seeing that. I think if they're, like, for example, when drones were a theme, we were able to trade that fairly successfully, right?
Oh,
But now that theme is kind of dying out, or it's choppy, or it's
the moves are just
other
wild. I mean,
and the moves are wild.
Down
Exactly.
10%, up 10%, and if you're on the wrong side of it, you can get destroyed.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's been a very hard market to trade from, at least for me. I mean, I'm sure some people are killing it and they're on the right side of it every time this year. I'm sure there are a few people who are, but it's been challenging. You're right. The trends are not stable.
I'll say with my own like trading, I have been wrong more often this year than the past, but some of the winners that I've caught have actually buoyed me and kept me in the green.
Yeah,
that's really the only saving grace. As far as the long-term account, that's just crushing because I had such a big position on Ondas. But when it comes with the trading here, it's hit or miss. Guys, really good stuff here, though. I know we have a hard stop here at 11 because we have a new show. Really appreciate it, though. We're going to see you guys next week. All right.
Awesome. Take care, guys. See ya.
Story trading, guys, crushing it yet again. That is Ben, Rhett, and Dougie Fresh. Love the calls here. We're going to have them back. But right now, you're going to start the new show, The Drift, with Tom Sosnoff and Adam Mesh. I'm going to send you right over there. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused. We'll see you tomorrow.